What is going on, everybody? It is episode 526 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I want to introduce you to my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
It's not the first time we've met. Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. I admit, Friday's episode is going to be a tough act to follow, but I believe we can do it. And here to assist us is the marketing man extraordinaire himself. Say hello to the people.
Hello, people. It's Dane Font, America's favorite older brother.
When we were doing the description box today, I put marketing man extraordinaire in there, and I realized that I don't like not having automatic spell check on my computer.
Extraordinaire is pretty
I'm
annoying
going to
word.
be your automatic spell check.
Yes, she is. She is most of the time. I see the little squiggly red line. I go, Mary, how do you spell it?
Yeah.
That happens quite a bit. But guys, we got a bunch of stuff to get into today. It's going to be a lot of fun. But before we get started, would you please hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed here yet already. We are past 95,000 subscribers. We are on our way to 100,000, which is very, very exciting. So share this video with your friends so that more people can come in here and hang out and join us, right? Also remember, all super chats, $20 and over. We will interrupt the discussion. We will read them right then and there. And then we will do our level best to get right back on topic. Perhaps you have a question for Dane. He hasn't been here in a while. Maybe you want to ask that question right now. That's how you do it.
Puerto Rican culture crisis.
Yes, that's what it is. Puerto Rican culture crisis.
Correct.
Yes. All right. So what are we going to talk about today? So first things first, over the weekend, there was a fairly viral tweet in which basically an article was written where Gina Carano got invited to Fan Expo in Canada. I don't know why you'd want to go to Canada, but apparently it's a thing people do. And there was backlash because all of one person said that it basically made them feel unsafe for people because these people don't actually know what it is that Gina Carano's legacy was tarnished for. They just know that you're not supposed to like her. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the responses, everything that was said. Also, we're going to get into the fact that Ariana Grande is back in the news because she's a homewrecker and she's got a new single coming out, right?
Yes, she's released the Homewrecker Anthem for herself. The first time she's released music in 3 years, and it's to basically double down on her home-wrecking lifestyle and tell everyone else that it's none of their business what she does.
Despite being a public figure and, you know, all that stuff. Also, apparently, Mary clued me into this viral clip from the show Girls, from the shows from 2012. But it's this scene in which a character discusses an abortion. And a lot of people believe that perhaps the conservatives don't understand the meaning of what this clip was. I kind of dislike these types of things because I feel like when you get these 30-second clips, a lot of context is lost, but it's still fun to see.
I'm certainly not going to watch all 6 seasons of a Lena Dunham show just to have enough context to talk about one scene of it. That went viral on X. Yeah. So we're just going to operate without context today and try to decode it for ourselves.
Well, it's going to be interesting. And also, Renee Rapp is very mad that you might judge her for not being super, super skinny, right? So she's claimed that she has an eating disorder, and but she was mad, which it is, she's mad that people expected her to be skinny to play Regina George.
Right. She refused to lose weight to play a role of a character who's obsessed with having a hot physique. So yeah, there were these clips of her that were circulating again, trying to shame people like me for pointing out that you should be skinny if you want to play Regina George.
Yes, we got a $20 super chat here from Disco Jensen. Says, Mary, have you started Buffy? You could have finished it over the weekend.
I can give you an update on that. I have watched, I believe, the first 3 or 4 episodes. I think I got to her cheerleading tryouts where there was a witch on the cheer team. Yep. I gotta be honest, guys, I'm not enjoying it.
Shocking. Shocking.
I mean, it's not shocking, right? Because you thought that I would like it.
Shocking. No, I mean, I don't know. I think maybe you'd like season 2 more, but it's impossible to ask.
I've never watched it.
It's impossible to ask somebody to be like, oh, get through all. It's like when people are like, oh, dude, yeah, the first 3 seasons are slow, but 4 and 5 rule. I'm like, bro, if you can't hook me in like the first 30 seconds, I'm gone most of the time, so I don't blame you if you don't like the first season. See, I liked it right from the beginning, but it's a lot to ask somebody to not like season 1, but then like season 2. For instance, I finally finished season 1 of Supernatural over the weekend. It took me 5 separate times in which I started the show, I'd get 2 or 3 episodes in, and I'd go, ugh, and then I'd stop, right? Finally, I sat down, I got through it, enjoyed would be a very big word for it, but it was fine, right?
Quite tolerated it.
But here's the thing. What it is I love the format. The format being that the show of Supernatural was filmed with almost no sets whatsoever. It's filmed almost all on location, which I really, really enjoy, not having to see the same locations over and over again. And I love this format where every episode is its own movie, and it's basically them crisscrossing the country, solving supernatural problems and trying to figure out the story. I like that. But in execution, at least from what everybody's told me, they're like, oh, it gets much better in season 2. I'm like, yeah, but I'm the one who punished myself to do this. You can't expect the average person to want to sit down to something. And like, for me, I finished it more out of like a weird sense of like, I'm not a completionist, but I need to at least get through this one season, right? But it didn't like energize me to watch season 2. I may continue it, but I don't blame you. Like watching season 1 just to get to where it gets good in season 2 isn't a fair thing to ask someone.
So that's the same argument for you. You think that Buffy only gets good in the second season?
I think it gets much better in the second season, but I liked season 1. Like, I just think it got even better in season 2.
It's just like the episodes are too long. The dialogue is very Joss Whedon-y, which isn't my taste, and it made sense for its time, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's not my time.
Yeah. I don't know. But the thing is, I also like the spinoff. I also loved Angel when it was on. So it is what it is. It's I do. Somebody says in the chat. Somebody says Buffy season 1 is awkward. Season 2 is great. So yeah, a lot of people are kind of in that same.
It is awkward.
So.
There's a lot of awkward silences that they kept in those episodes.
Yep.
Makes me feel awkward to watch it.
So we got a bunch of stuff to get into, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. So if you are ready, guys, we can just go ahead. Mary, are you ready?
I think I'm ready.
Dane, are you ready?
Yep.
All right, let's go ahead and get started then. All right, first things first, me and Mary did not enjoy the Mean Girls reboot, but it did win at the box office this weekend.
I mean, it's not surprising.
No.
People will just follow an IP wherever it goes.
Look,
I guess we're just a bunch of sheeple. We just do what we're told. We just eat our sludge. We don't care.
It was fair. Like there was some people dressed in pink. They tried to make it.
There
like
were
Barbie.
a lot of girls dressed in pink. They did think like if we market this so deceptively that no one knows it's a musical, we can get this to be Barbie 2.0.
Yeah.
Let's go, guys. On like a way lower budget. That didn't work.
No, but it says it won the weekend with $33.2 million. No, that was a 4-day weekend, not a 3-day weekend because it's the holidays. So they're counting in MLK Day on that. So it says there were still some theater closures in the Midwest. Remember, there was a bunch of storms, so they think that they might have lost out on money because of all the snow over the weekend. But it made a good chunk of money. But it didn't make a good chunk of money was, what was that, Souls?
Dude,
Soul is the Pixar movie,
yeah.
The first one of 3 that they're re-releasing in theaters. That made what, like $400,000 altogether?
Yeah. $318 a theater or something like that. Very little.
I don't know what they expected.
Nope.
But they're just scraping for change in the couch cushions at this point in Disney.
Also, guys, by the way, I have asked. I put a poll up today. I said, "Have you ever been in a situationship?" I saw some people ask what a situationship was. Friends with benefits. It's
but
undefined.
updated for Gen Z lingo.
Yeah, they need their modern day lingo, right?
What would be the difference?
I mean, I feel like there's more of a broad definition than friends with benefits had, because for Gen Z, like, they don't like having sex. So it could just be having a talking stage with someone where you text and FaceTime.
You mean dating?
Stuff like that. Well, no, without actually dating.
I don't even.
You know?
Does part of this have to do with like just not meeting them in person? Is that part of it? Like,
I don't know from experience, so I'm just like going off of what people tell me on the internet.
So guys, just a heads up. I'd like everyone to answer that poll because we do have something that connects
pertains to it
in just a little bit,
yes.
right? So I don't know. Like I don't think you should go see Mean Girls. I don't think it's worth your time, especially if you love the original. It's not really going to be worth your time. Dane asked when he came in today, he's like, should we go see Mean Girls? I was like, do you love the original? He's like, yes. I'm like, then no.
Yeah.
No, you should not. So
pretty much.
Might want to skip on that one. So we'll wait and see. Like right now, it's been a very dead start of. I mean, January is always a dead month for the box office. All we had was like Night Swim came out last week, so In It Lost Wonka was #1 all the way through the holidays up until this week.
Yeah, I also didn't like that musical.
Yep. So, all right, guys. So just keep track of it. We got some other stuff. We got Argyle coming at the end of the month, which I'm excited about.
Yeah, that's a high point for this month.
Yep.
For
we'll
sure.
wait and see. All right, guys. Jonathan Majors has more bad news coming for him. So after losing his court case, he was, of course, let go from Disney. He will not be playing Kang in the Marvel Cinematic Universe anymore. But it's not just that. He's also been dropped from a movie about Dennis Rodman where he was supposed to play Dennis Rodman, to which I say, what? He looks nothing like him.
Can you explain why Dennis Rodman is controversial?
Oh, man. Okay, so he was the bad boy of the NBA in the 90s. He's also good friends with Kim. He was good friends with Kim Jong-il, right?
What?
He's just very...
He's been to North Korea like twice.
Why?
Because he likes him. Because they liked him.
Huh.
Yep.
He was just like, I feel like the first introduction of what is now considered modernity in a time where it wasn't like that. Because he was famously unstructured. Like, he would come late to practice. And he also wasn't like a archetypical player. Like, his use on the team was like rebounds. And defensive purposes.
He scored very little.
Yeah, in the era of Jordan, where Jordan's value was like points and assists and things like that.
You need him, you need Scottie Pippen, you need Michael Jordan.
So he was just in media the foil to Jordan, but however they had like a cohesiveness.
And he dated
that was
porn
interesting.
stars.
Yeah.
And he was very much a bad boy of the time. Like, were him and Manson friends? I feel like him and Marilyn Manson were friends too.
I know he did Carmen Electra.
Yeah, so like he was a very unique case for the media because he had his hair was constantly dyed, he had a nose ring.
Cross-dressed.
He would do all of the things that you see now, but he did it at a time where it actually wasn't socially acceptable.
So he walked so that Lil Nas X and Jaden Smith could run.
Kind of, yeah.
He wasn't. I don't think he felt like as in your face about it.
Yeah. He was fine with doing his own thing and wouldn't have complained about being persecuted, most likely. Arctic Wolf in the chat says 0 points, 30 rebounds. Massive.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like that was him.
Absolutely. Yep. He would dye his hair crazy colors. And yeah, he'd been to North Korea twice now, I think, because he somebody in the chat let me know, was it Kim Jong-il or Kim Jong-un that liked him a lot? One of the two, and he would just go there.
Well, Il was in power then.
Yeah,
so.
but I don't remember if he went only back then or if he'd gone.
Wait.
What the hell?
Was that one that's alive today?
He married himself.
What did they do there? Did they play basketball together?
I hope so.
I think they like consumed American media together.
Yeah, they're saying Kim Jong-un is his biggest fan.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's the one that's alive.
Okay.
That's the one he hung out with.
Okay.
So, he was the American ambassador to
he still is
to North Korea.
Amazing.
Isn't that amazing? So, but I'm just saying, Jonathan Majors looks nothing like him. Like,
not like that matters these days.
Jonathan Majors is like bulky and really, really built, and Dennis Rodman was really skinny and not at all like that. And their faces
How tall
are
is
nothing
Jonathan
alike.
Majors?
We could look that up. I'm sure he's over 6 feet.
You think?
But yeah. It says they were set to document the true story of the Bulls power forward's notorious trip to Las Vegas in the middle of the 1998 finals. It's also no longer involved. Lionsgate is no longer involved in the project as the studio released it back to its producers to find a new partner. Phil Lord, Chris Miller, and Aditya Sood will produce for Lord Miller and Ari Lube. Will Allegra and Rodman will executive produce. Well, I'm glad Rodman's at least involved in this, right?
It says Jonathan Majors' height is between 5'11" and 6 feet tall, which basically means he's 5'10".
If they're not even willing to round up, that means you're 5'10".
Yeah. Right.
So I wonder what direction they're gonna go with this.
So right in the chat, somebody says, "Nah, he's probably 5'10". Luke himself with the score on this one. That's his name in the chat.
I wonder what direction they're gonna go with this movie, because again, like his perception at the time in the 90s, like he's a unique. He's got this like thumb that sticks out, and you just can't like look away. He was more like a pimple.
Is he the one who married
in a beautiful
himself?
face? No.
I thought he was.
I don't think so. And I wonder if this movie's gonna be like, they just don't understand when a black man's creative. You know what I mean?
I feel like it's just lazy to continue greenlighting all of these biopics instead of writing stories.
And that, dude, so this goes to the somewhat intellectual conversation that we were having before the show. of there being three classes in the content production, and none of them are in synchronicity. I'll just give like a really brief summary, just not to like ramble. So the three classes are the financial class, so the class that finances the project, which is boomers because they're the only ones with like money and assets. There's like the working class, which I see is currently millennials and younger Gen Z. And there's
older Gen Z?
Older, yes, correct, sorry. Okay. And then the class that the product is made for, which is younger Gen Z and whatever generation comes before them, after them, whatever.
Gen Alpha.
And so, yeah. And so I think that the cope of the generation is currently, so the people that finance it, they don't care what happens. They just want to see like a +1, +1,000. They just want to see something in green. Millennials, which I increasingly recognize that millennials are like the generation without triumph.
Okay.
And I feel like this feeds our perpetual youth, is that we've never, like, you know, we never scored the winning shot, you know what I mean?
Okay.
In society and history as a whole. And so
what would that have looked like? I wonder, what would that have looked like?
I don't know, because we haven't. Yeah. So I couldn't tell you in modernity what would have been. Yeah. I think the pat on the back that our generation has is like in our first election we voted for Obama, and like I think that's the only thing, you know, in their eyes and in the eyes of progressivism and how it is today, it's like the only thing they've accomplished.
Not the legalization of gay marriage?
Maybe that and weed, you know, but then again,
weed.
You know, but
there's some great accomplishments.
I know.
There.
So you think that there's three classes here that have been created as part of the creative class?
So there's three classes that are part of the creative class.
How does Gen Z, the younger Gen Z?
So Gen Z, we lie to them constantly.
Okay.
We pretend that the content is made for them, and that is why we put wokeism and progressivism and everything. And it's like, no, it's for the kids. Like put a they them in it. But notice how we keep reenacting our, like, it doesn't feel like enough time has elapsed for there to be a Mean Girls, you know, like remake.
I don't think it's for Gen Z. I think it's for perpetually
correct.
young millennials.
And that's my point. It's like
immature millennials.
We tell the financial class, no, it's for the kids, but then we make some self-serving BS in the spirit of their generation, but we do not comprehend them at all.
Interesting.
No, that's totally true.
That can be fairly true.
And the boomers are out of touch, where they'll be like, okay, I'll write a check for that. Sounds good. But it's actually them, like millennials, reliving their glory days, or having glory days they never had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their glory days is their youth.
Yeah.
And because the glory days is being like, wow, wasn't media kick-ass back then? And it's the only thing.
But I feel like it's also, you can see that trend in how millennials made Euphoria. Right. Yeah. This is supposed to relate to Gen Z, and it has literally nothing relatable to Gen Z in it.
Like a hypersexual, hyper-drug narrative, and to the
drugs, sex, and having social lives.
To the most sexless generation. Like
not relatable to Gen Z.
So that's my point.
At all.
and I feel like now more than ever, I understand Gen Z's kind of, because you guys feel like the most self-isolated out of everyone. And it's like, how wouldn't you be? Like even when you're being spoken to, it's as if like they're looking past you constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like early on when me and Mary first started working together, I kind of had my ideas of what Gen Z was challenged quite a bit, because obviously that's her generation, and I feel.
Did I put you in your place?
Well, I mean, not
correct your ideas
not intentionally, but yeah, like pointing out to me where things diverge from what the public says Gen Z is like to what it's actually like, coming from somebody who's actually part of that generation. And
that's why I feel like you two have a good dynamic, because it is your opposites, because female younger and male older, and it's the class that's creating versus the class that's being served, and like the conversation that you guys can have is like, well, I see this and I see that, but I feel like in terms of generations, like us two are most similar, because what we have in common is the realization that paradise is lost.
Yeah.
And that, you know, at least in our, because I feel like millennials were kind of raised in this sense of like, you guys are the prophecy generation. Like you guys are the ones that are going to fix the world. And how I feel that that's going to play out is that those of us who have kids or embrace the youth, I feel that we will fix the time by shepherding them correctly.
Perhaps. We'll have to wait and see. We'll
Yeah.
have to wait and see what happens. All right. Speaking of biopics, at least this one's about somebody who has since passed on, right?
Yeah, they're making a Michael Jackson biopic that releases next year, but this is interesting. The star of it is going to be Michael Jackson's nephew, Jafar Jackson.
Who apparently is quite the singer.
Don't you think that's a little bit strange?
No.
To have your own relative play you in a movie that will tell your story?
Can somebody help me out on this? And somebody in the chat might be able to give me a specific example. I believe there's more than one example of that actually happening, but I can't think of any examples off the top of my head. But I don't think that that's as uncommon as you think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't like the whole biopic trend in general. It's so lazy. They're making an Amy Winehouse biopic, and everyone saw the trailer, and it was a mess.
Here's the thing, though. These things are not targeted necessarily demographically, but they are for gender, right? So women love these types of projects,
human
right?
interest
human interest
stories.
pieces, which is why, I mean, really, this is why streaming was created, because most of these, like, I was unbelievably surprised. They're making a Bob Marley movie, not a documentary, but a movie based on Bob Marley.
Like, who are they not making a biopic about?
Yeah, like
point?
So, and I was really, really surprised that was going to the theater, because I just figured that's something that would be made for streaming. But right now, with 9,000 different streaming services, they got content to fill. And let's face it, the same way that people look at intellectual property as a means of marketing without effort,
Right.
That's what IP does. Name recognition does the same thing for that. So
Right.
Michael Jackson is an IP.
But that's exactly why I'm calling it low effort, is because these studios aren't greenlighting any original stories. They're recycling IP, or they're using name recognition to get people in theaters. They did this with the Whitney Houston biopic, with the Elvis biopic. Like, literally, who hasn't had a biopic?
Okay, then I do have a question.
Princess Diana, everyone.
I do have a question for both of you. Who then would you like to see a biopic on?
So my thing is that what's Amy Winehouse? Like, I feel it's too fresh. It's what I'm saying. It has to harken back to a generation that I feel like I didn't experience it.
Elvis would make sense for that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it's like it's
Like
not
the
old
culture-
enough. It's not old enough that I haven't heard about it.
The culture would need time to reflect on it before
Yeah,
getting to it.
like did it? I don't know. She was part of modernity.
I mean, the fact that they're making a Madonna biopic at the same time as Madonna still trying to relive her youth and not letting go of it.
Yeah, she
hasn't reflected on her own life herself clearly enough to accept that her glory days are past. It just doesn't make any sense beyond a money grab.
Charlie Sheen biopic. I would love to see like a satire Charlie Sheen.
No
biopic.
more biopics. I don't want to see any biopics. I can't think of anyone that I want to see a biopic on.
Bob Ross.
And even when they announced the Padre Pio film, I thought that was going to be a biopic of sorts about Padre Pio, and then it wasn't that.
Yeah.
I think Bob Ross is good. I think Kurt Cobain maybe.
They made one about Mr. Rogers, right?
Yes. I mean, there's a lot, and that movie did really, really well. What was that, like In the Neighborhood or whatever that one was called? That one ended up doing pretty well at the box office.
But see, like even
George Santos.
Oh my God! Even when they do new media, it's something that requires nothing creative.
Right.
It's like they live their life and they lived it as such. Well, everything is about creating the context. Nothing is about creating the content.
Yep. All right, we got a $20 one here from Disco Jensen. Says Nikola Tesla biopic. The man gave us the modern world and died in a hotel room in poverty. Well, as we know, being intelligent and being an inventor does not mean that you're necessarily great at business, which is one of the hard parts of, like, they always say, right? Like, there's getting there first and getting it done first are not the same thing. Didn't some, like, the light bulb was simultaneously invented by like two people right around the same time, and then was just patented by one. Same with like things like bifocals and things like that. Like, It's all about how you market it, and the business side of things and the inventor side of things are often very, very different.
Well, that's the Apple logo, right? To represent Tesla's suicide.
Ugh, I didn't know that.
Really?
Yeah, an apple covered in cyanide that he took a bite out of.
Oh, and is that what? Didn't they? What did they do in Oppenheimer with the apple? Remember in Oppenheimer?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I forgot about that. Holy crap! All right. This is a really interesting one. I got sent this by several people over the weekend, but I ended up finding it on my own. It just popped up. I feel like I got sent it right after I found it. Like it showed up simultaneously in everyone's feed at the same time. Alan Richson responds to other Christians criticizing him playing the character of Reacher. This is very interesting because, first of all, I did not know that the actor was Christian. I did not.
I didn't either, but this is really puzzling to me because I never saw any criticism of Alan Richson from a Christian perspective, to be honest.
I'm guessing
I didn't know this was a thing.
He's probably pretty self-aware of it because it probably comes to him directly.
But he responded to Christian critics who questioned his portrayal of a morally ambiguous character.
The character
in
is
Reacher.
so the character is very morally ambiguous. So I was talking with Wesley last week when we did our last review of the show Reacher. And we got a $20 one here from Grofty. Says Musk? ? We'll have to wait till Musk's story plays out in full before you get a biopic.
It's not
about
over
him.
yet.
It's not over yet. But okay, so the character is very, very morally ambiguous. So meaning what that means is like in the show, as Wesley was putting it, it doesn't seem like he has a whole lot of emotions, but he has a set of morals and beliefs that he lives by, which is not the same as being necessarily empathetic. Right? So the character will do morally bad things will do bad things if he believes it's for the right reasons, which is a hallmark of the character as it's being portrayed in the show. So in this description, we can watch part of this clip of him where he's basically talking about how he is being criticized for playing a character like this, and his essential point is like, look, do you expect me to just play saint-like characters, or is all Christian media supposed to be somebody sitting in a church pew and praying all the time? And this is an eternal struggle that we have quite a bit on the show, is talking about where does the art diverge and become truly harmful. I feel like that's a discussion we have pretty regularly.
Well, the truth is that people are morally ambiguous, right? Yeah. Every saint has the capacity to be a great sinner, and every great sinner has the capacity to be a saint.
So let's listen to this.
Yeah.
I love playing Reacher. I love telling this story. I love playing a character who creates a kind of moral ambiguity that we should struggle against as we consider whether or not what he's doing is good all the time or morally right. I think that kind of thing is fun and fascinating, and I think escaping to that world as an audience, hopefully it's as enjoyable for you as it is for me to help bring it to life. But it's funny to me how a lot of people criticize me, supposed Christians especially, criticize me for playing Reacher, as if the only TV that should exist is seeing people silently folding their hands in the pew of a church. I mean, what kind of stories are we supposed to tell? If you look at Scripture, what do you find? You see 1,000 years of an infinitely holy God holding tension with human beings as he tells the story of who he is, reveals who he is through an imperfect people. So we get stories of paganism and a war and bloodshed and ghost stories, mysticism. We see miracles and magic, and we see life and resurrection and death, and we see this incredible canvas where God is completely unafraid to tell the story of who he is through less than morally ambiguous characters, through pure evil sometimes, So I think it's laughable when people criticize me for playing characters that are not saintly. That's not my job, and I don't think God cares about only telling those kinds of stories. I think we can start conversations and we can reach people through these mediums in a way that I think God enjoys. And so here we are now, where we can get to the heart of the matter, where God has built a platform because of this show for me, where I can reach people who maybe don't think about these things all the time, and maybe for those who are struggling or feel lost or want to try something new, they can find something that brings them hope, like my faith has mine. And so,
do you think that's true? Do you think that's what he's saying? Do you think that's what, for somebody like him, that helps give him purpose?
Is that the goal of Reacher?
Yeah, well, of his art in general, his chosen profession of acting.
Wait. What is your question?
So the question is like, do you think that for somebody like that who is clearly very much religious, do you think that that helps him? Because what I say a lot of times when we talk about these actors is they try to elevate the meaning of their work to being this great art form.
It should be.
Yeah, right? So like, I just wonder if this is just his version of that, but from a religious perspective, right?
Because I can guarantee you Amazon does not see Reacher
Yes.
in the same way that he does.
Yeah.
It's fine if he wants to
I just think
think of it that way, though.
he's like the victim of the intersection of Robert Downey Jr. syndrome and subhuman activist syndrome.
What is Robert Downey Jr. syndrome?
Robert Downey Jr. syndrome is that Robert Downey Jr. played himself as Iron Man.
Yeah.
And as a result, people liked him. And so whatever he is, he plays himself. Like, when you think about it, we just like him. He's not really an actor.
So it's like Ryan Reynolds. in
Correct.
a lot of ways.
So it's kind of these people where they're likable, charismatic men, women that just portray themselves doing caricature. And since typically the roles they are somewhat pious and they're the most memorable, we now have put that burden on everyone on being themselves in the character that they played, and they have to fulfill my desire and expectation of who they are.
Okay.
Like, you have to play this character based on my expectation of who you are.
Yeah.
So he could never be a villain,
Yeah.
basically, because
you mean, well, he plays villains in other stuff.
right, it's like the next step of typecasting.
Okay.
It's like human casting, like
Oh,
him as a human.
There are certain actors who kind of play against who don't do well doing, like Tom Cruise for the most part, other than Collateral and a few other movies, he's usually a good guy in most of his movies.
Yeah.
But my favorite role from him is the one where he's a villain, and that's in Collateral. But you're not wrong that there's definitely some people who get kind of pushed into that, which is funny because Robert Downey Jr. I thought was fantastic in Oppenheimer, and he's not playing himself in that movie. He's definitely a villain of sorts in that film, and he's embodying a real life person.
Yeah, but he had to die in his world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To be reborn anew.
Yeah. He can't like after Marvel, he came back and he did that movie Doolittle that nobody liked and nobody saw. So we got a $50 one here from Mikey. Thank you. Says, I guess I'm weird. I don't really like hearing the traditional preachers and lessons. I went to a church around Hot Springs. The preacher was a former biker and found Christ. When he preached, it was an entirely different feeling for me.
In a good way?
I'm
Or
assuming he's saying in a
bad
good way that he liked it that way. And I just think that him getting like this type of criticism that he's facing here would be the same type of criticism that other actors would get if they played something outside of their wheelhouse, right? So I don't think this is an odd argument. I just think it's from a religious perspective.
And it's incredible. Like, this level of criticism, like, further illustrates to me, like, people's inability to have like any level of abstraction.
Like they have to have it spelled out for them.
Yeah, people do not comprehend
think
any
that's-
level of abstraction.
Maybe
That is a lot of conservatives, and you're going to find a lot of Christians in the conservative side of the aisle who think in black and white,
Yeah.
and that's not really
how art works.
how art works, obviously. But I mean, if you think of the Bible like a story, name like any biblical figure who's not morally ambiguous
that's
in
his
some
point.
sense.
That's
Look
his
at
point to
David.
this.
Look at Job.
Also-
look at the apostles.
how much symbolism, metaphor, is in the Bible. It's like it's infinitely analyzed and will be infinitely analyzed for generations.
So is the
You know what I mean?
then is the idea then that they want all characters to play some analogy to Jesus?
I think
rather
that
than playing
the reason he's getting so much criticism from Christians specifically is because they're being culturally persecuted, and they feel like they just want
Thank you guys.
they just want something that caters to them, because they don't really get that ever. They've been systematically ostracized and cut out of the entertainment industry and from the creative spaces. So
Yeah.
they're
like,
not
"Look, I
able
can
to
only-"
create the things that they want to create.
They're like, look, I can
but they're
only watch
also
The Chosen so many times.
Right, they're
You
not-
gotta-
Yeah.
they don't know how to consume mainstream content anymore because all of it is created by people who hate them. So they're looking for something that's the extreme opposite of that caters to them in every way possible, that just ends up coming off like a Hallmark movie that's really cheesy and surface level.
And that's how the art was that was how Christian, at least movie art, was for a very long
Graham
time.
was talking about that on the episode on Friday, and it's like, it shouldn't be good for a Christian movie. It should just be good.
Right. It's because this is a result out of the spirit of the age being the eternal denial that modern humans are a result of Christianity.
What do you mean?
That, the values that Catholicism and Christianity spread around the world as a whole are... Damn, this is gonna be... I don't give a shit. And the values that Christianity and Catholicism spread around the world as a whole, and the outlook of how to treat people and how to see man, people attribute it less to them as a source and more onto human nature. Whereas anyone that has any understanding of history and human nature would know that that isn't true. Because like humans lean to their desires, and if you know anything about the books, the three religions of the books, it's constantly going against human nature, and that is where you find kind of the value and the ascendedness of the world. So it's this denial of the spiritual and believing that it's all like secular and pagan.
There's been a lot of push for that in the last, 30 years here in America, especially, to move away from that and assume that it's all secular.
But it's funny because they don't move away from it. They just like,
attribute it to something else.
Like it's like the meme, like your ball, my ball. Yeah.
I don't know. I think any human story that is getting created without getting suffocated by libtardism is essentially a Christian story, because the hero's journey is a Christian story.
And that's my point, basically. And it's like they're they don't want to call it the hero's journey. They call it the Shmiro's Shmurny.
What?
But it's the denial of the root of it, because they feel so rejected, and maybe there is some merit in them feeling rejected, because like as me and Brett have said in the past, like for a time, like the obnoxious culture that dominated, in my opinion at least, was like holier than thou, like neocon idiots, and then they, as a rejection to them, all religion got rejected. And so now is that like that genre is so rejected that they threw the baby out with the bathwater.
I wonder if part of it is just that, like, as a Christian in the entertainment industry, probably already feels maybe perhaps a little bit like an outsider. So then to get pushed back from people that he felt would probably have his back probably bothers him.
Yeah, that's probably why he made the video.
All right, guys.
Seems like a good guy, though.
He does. Like, as I was saying, like, and that's cool because he's like, this isn't even necessarily the best example. He's legitimately a bad guy in the last Fast and the Furious movie, and his character will be there in the next one. So it's fair to point out.
It was a very good explanation as well.
Yeah, he seems like a good guy. And then everybody's arguing about him and his physique. I noticed as soon as we started talking about it, they're like, he loves creatine. Yes, he does, and protein. I'm sure
he loves Jesus and creatine.
He does.
Is that what they call it these days?
That's exactly what they call it these days. All right, guys. So, friend of the channel, Andrea Mew, posted this on Twitter the other day. It says, "This Valentine's Day, feel reaffirmed by your holiday candy selection to ditch the commitment and romanticize having shallow, casual relationships that provide short-term satisfaction at best and damaged attachment styles at worst." What it says is, Sweethearts adds situationships to their iconic conversation hearts.
Yes,
know your marketplace, baby. The full blown adult relationships are out. The vague, poorly defined relationships of adults and young adults are now in. So
the slogan they put on the box for these sweethearts is "messages as blurry as your relationship," and you can see it's just blurring the text, saying things like true love and only you.
That's gross.
I did put a poll up, ladies and gentlemen. As I said before, I said, have you ever been in a situationship? Again, I would like to think of that as like the vaguely defined world of friends with benefits. It's funny. So I watch a lot of TV shows that were made in the early 2000s, and it's kind of going to what you were saying about like boomers and millennials not understanding how Gen Z works. Now, I don't know if necessarily these characters, I'm trying to think back to the age ranges of these characters to think if they were supposed to be considered Gen Z when these things were made. I think they were mostly millennials, but it's like they would always be like a parent asking their kid, they're like, oh, do you like this boy or do you like this girl? And then they would also be like, we don't date, we just hang out in groups. Hang out. Be like, even then it was vaguely defined, and people didn't want to put labels on them at the time, and that was already happening in the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how dating was in the 1950s, the 1960s, right? At least from what I've heard from my granny, that's going steady was sort of just someone that you held hands with when you went on group outings with the opposite sex, and that actually socialized young people better to find out how the opposite sex works than Snapchat and FaceTime and social media and pornography would. They had something a lot better back then, to be honest.
We got a $20 one here from Corey Anderson. Says biopics need to be about people that lived extraordinary lives, like King Henry II, Henry the Eighth, Charles I, or Chris Farley. This men, I think he means these men made history and forged paths into history. These are movies people will watch.
This guy's not wrong.
Well, they did that for Napoleon and no one liked it.
Yeah.
Really? The trailers look so good. I wanted to watch it.
Disco Jensen says, Valentine's Day 2001. I saw a girl walking home alone and crying. I said, Happy Valentine's Day, and she sobbed loud and started crying harder. Think she got dumped or was in a situationship. Could be both. Probably dumped in 2001. Those vaguely defined relationships probably weren't as common.
In 2001, if you said situationship to someone,
they'd have been like, what?
They would be like, Jesse, what the F are you talking about?
This is basically like, the people where, this is all Facebook's fault for adding the it's complicated relationship to their Facebook statuses, right?
Did you ever actually see someone use the it's complicated status? Like in real life?
I must embarrassingly admit that I was one.
You did?
Yeah.
Was it actually complicated or was it just a joke?
It was very complicated, yeah.
All right.
But it's this, I don't know, it's stupid. It's the...
I think anybody who says that says it in Tim's voice when they look at the it's complicated situation thing on Facebook. It's complicated. Look, it's complicated.
He does say that a lot, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's this young desire.
So you've been in a situationship?
Yes.
Okay.
But you wouldn't have thought of it that way at the time, I guess.
We have a term for it in Spanish. I don't know if
what is it?
Quite heavy.
We got a $20 one here from Daniel Salinas. Says, have you guys watched Godzilla -1? Mary, please watch Full Metal Alchemist. It's a great anime. Thoughts?
Yeah, it's the best one.
Godzilla -1?
No, I was asking Dane about his thoughts about Full Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal's really good.
Yep.
It's really good.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys, but the public ruined Godzilla -1 for me by telling me constantly to go see it. And as an American, full of American exceptionalism, the second you tell me to do something repeatedly, I'm just not going to do it. I'm sorry.
Is there a term for this, Halo? I'm really trying to... It's like a step before boyfriend girlfriend and a step above friends with benefits, because it's stupid really, because it's it's like the acknowledgement that this person is someone in your life, but it's not really that much. I don't know, it's weird.
I actually addressed that at some point. I said,
quite passive aggressive.
At a certain point, like, you have to just address it, because the lie is that if you don't address it and it just hangs there, that if something goes wrong, it will be somehow less painful because you don't talk about it in the first place. But if you've already said it's past the level of friends with benefits.
I feel
you're emotionally involved, you're already, but not committed.
And also physically involved, right? So
correct.
The idea that not putting a label on it would somehow make it less painful if it falls apart is asinine and ridiculous. So just either commit or break it off.
Yeah.
I think it means we're committed right now, but we don't see long-term prospects.
Okay.
If it makes sense.
Ah, the complicated world of dating, all thanks to candy, guys. Candy is causing this. I'm with this last super chat here from Shane H. Wilder. It's not a 20, but I'm going to read it anyway. It says, so Sweethearts is just packaging the misprinted candies. Also, who eats Sweethearts? They taste of chalk.
That's very true.
This literally could be them. They
were never good.
They just picked up the ones that all had bad text on them and found a way to market them.
Yeah.
That's genius.
It is kind of.
Capitalism, baby. I love it. All right. Mary found this one. Tell us what the hell's Chris Cuomo's. This means
Chris Cuomo got in big trouble.
But between this and the one with the patient with Tourette's, this is like 2 Chris Cuomos in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, Chris Cuomo was accused of sending explicit texts to a former colleague of his at CNN. She
is what she was
posted
wearing.
this photo of herself on New Year's Day in 2021. She's wearing, if you're listening to the podcast instead of watching, a bikini that has a bunch of metal sequins and tinsel on it. And he texted her, "Happy New Year's, tinsel crotch."
I mean, at least he didn't
This is awesome.
At least he didn't call her tinsel tush.
Cuomo screenshotted the image, said Happy New Year, tinsel crotch. And here is her reaction, guys. Stunned. I read and reread the message a dozen times, trying to understand if I somehow brought this on myself. You did. You thought that because you did. I teared up, like now and then the tears flowed. I felt like the safest place I had on a show on CNN had been compromised. She said, sobbing, and she did not reply to the text.
This is like
the least bad thing Chris Cuomo has ever done.
He rules for this.
This is like when the girl was complaining about how she was placed out of the top 3 from a Mr. Beast like hide and seek tournament, and she tried to make it like a Me Too allegation.
It's insane. Like, just be cool about it. I don't know why people act like this. You posted something and everyone should just act like that never happened. You posted a picture of yourself where you are 99% naked, and we're just supposed to act like professionals about it.
Performative female shock and horror is really just so played out at this point.
She cried.
I'm sure.
Cried because she was called tinsel crotch.
Oh, a clever quip, huh?
There's a $20 one here from Baron of Gray Matter. Says, Boomer here. It used to be dating, going steady, engaged, marriage.
Wow, I didn't know dating and going steady were two different things.
I think dating is when you would call.
Oh, right. No, dating used to mean that you were going on dates.
Correct.
So you were trying to figure out if you wanted to be in a relationship, because that's what the word means.
So what do you kids call it these days?
Talking.
Based.
No, but I want the whole thing.
I think that Zoomers would say it goes from a talking stage.
Talking stage.
A talking stage to maybe a situationship to a relationship, and then engagement and marriage is kind of off the table.
Is the rise of the situationship just because men are not being more forward and they're not pursuing as aggressivily?
You know what?
There's this weird detente where they're like at opposite ends and they're not. Neither is making a move.
Brett, let me do it for you because I'm already married. I'm gonna lay this on women's feet.
Yeah.
I think that this generation of men are far more romantic than women. Far more. I really.
Like Zoomers?
Idealistic.
Not true. I keep. Jesus.
Thank you guys for helping me torture Dane today.
It never gets any better. I hate it.
So you think that they love the idea of the relationship?
I'm sorry. I just lost my entire train of thought.
You said men are more romantic than women.
Yes. Yeah, and also, but you interjected with something that kind of blew my mind. What did you say?
When?
Your interjection to my point of like men. Oh, you said something about Gen Z.
Oh, about Zoomers? You think Zoomer men are romantic?
I don't comprehend Zoomer men at all, if I can be honest.
If you can even call them men.
I mean, I think you're a man when you've come to the realization that you have issues that cannot be immediately solved, yet you're gonna work against it.
I think something is happening where millennial men are kind of tired of millennial women's shit, and
100%.
They're dating Gen Z women,
happily married to a Gen Z girl.
The Gen Z women,
happily.
The Gen Z women hate Gen Z guys. I won't even call them Gen Z men because the Zoomer men are just acting like teenage boys, so they want to date the millennial men. So that's kind of a symbiotic relationship that they have. And then what's going to happen to the millennial women and the Zoomer men? Only time will tell.
Here's the thing. So I think that there's an age when guys turn like 21, 22, 23, where they come to the crushing realization that they will never be loved for who they are again. And they will only be loved for what they can provide. And how you deal with that trauma is if you become a man or if you remain in childhood forever. Because honestly, it's a disgusting reality from the male perspective. The fact that, I don't have any inherent human value,
maybe that's why Chris Cuomo is going around sending people messages like tinsel crotch. Maybe because
I don't know how he went from tinsel crotch to this.
Because nobody loves him.
I'm on one today.
We've got a $20 super chat from Mikey saying, women spent the last 25 years telling men that under no circumstances are we to continue pursuit of them when the word no is uttered,
yes,
and then complain when we do just that.
Yep.
That perfectly encapsulates my argument, by the way.
The dilemma here is that the men out there who will ignore that advice, who will pursue regardless of the playful no's that they receive, are going to be the ones who win, and they're the chads.
But also, I don't know.
Also, the reason I would put the blame for situationships at the foot of women is because they are giving sex to men who have not committed to them. So why else would your relationship move forward to a committed engagement or marriage if you are basically, giving the milk for free?
Yeah. We missed
it doesn't make any sense.
We missed a $20 one from Corey Anderson. Says they changed history with the Napoleon movie. Keep the history correct, and those movies will be epics. They will be remembered like Ben-Hur, Citizen Kane, Gone with the Wind, and Marky Mark, Pièce de Résistance, Shooter. Also, fun fact, guys, it's not as good as the movie, but the Shooter TV series with Ryan Phillippe was actually a lot of fun. I do recommend going online and trying to find that one. It's good. There's all these problems it's very hard to imagine how any of these problems will be solved in the relationships. I do know that Chris Cuomo doing this, and then now I have to deal with people believing that somehow Don Lemon is going to be some voice for reason with his show on X, that the world is turning upside down, and I'm just supposed to buy it. I don't buy it.
Yeah, no thanks.
Okay, if I had to choose between Don Lemon on X and Chris Cuomo sending misogynist messages, I'd take Chris Cuomo sending misogynist messages.
It's not even misogynist. It's not even misogynist. You do have dangly things in your crotch.
Yep.
You have tinsel on your crotch, and then you got mad when someone called you tinsel crotch. Just to be clear,
it's
that
an
is the order of events.
acknowledgement of reality.
Tinsel tush or tinsel tits would have been far more illiterate.
Yes.
Tinsel tits
would have been great.
It rolls off the tongue.
And there's some on there, so it would have been applicable. He wanted to use
literally
crotch,
tinsel on her crotch.
He wanted to use it because it's more.
It's so perceptive.
Signing. I like it, guys. All right, let us move on, shall we? So this was going also fairly viral, and it's kind of a sad state when we talk. Thank you, guys. Dane, don't you love that?
Number 3.
Dane loves it.
Right on.
Dane loves hearing the Christ. Guys, you should keep doing it because Dane loves it so much.
Look, as our marketing man extraordinaire, you should be happy that this show is, getting
I appreciate the support, but
some views and some donations.
I love that. I love that.
This is a win.
Please subscribe and share and everything, but this abhorrent audio.
The current culture around plastic surgery has become another big topic debate. We talked about it very recently when we talked about why it is that perhaps Gen Z is aging faster than previous generations. But this is a specific story. It says why women need to stop plastic surgery until we figure out what's wrong. Why would you ruin your face like that? This is Erin Moriarty from the Boys. She was already very pretty, and she was.
Yes, she was. And who's to say if she had already gotten some subtle real work done in the first photo. But in the after photo, you can see that she's dramatically changed. A lot of it could be attributed to contour.
Yeah, that makeup is.
But you
horrible.
can see that she got a nose job. She's probably gotten Botox. She has lip injections. She has jaw injections, cheekbone injections.
Jesus.
I don't know who this person is if you're comparing it to the first photo. She looks completely unrecognizable. And one of the comments on this said she was a cute woman trying to force herself into the genre of hot or like sex symbol when that doesn't really work. And as a person who fits in the cute category, I would not want to move myself into the hot category because it looks awkward. It's very awkward.
You better have the personality to back it up if you're going to look like a sex doll.
It's not a good look.
I feel people like forgot the concept of min-maxing. You know what I mean? Play to your strengths.
There's a $20 one here from Baron of Grey Matter. Says, women have intrinsic value. Men have to prove their worth. If you can't provide, you remain a boy and juvenile. Women purportedly like bad boys because they appear to take what they want. Be a man, suck it up, go after what you want.
Amen,
well, that's
brother.
what I mean. That's why, like, when I say that, why do they stay in the situationship stage for so long? Because they're not willing to either commit or be open about what it is that they actually want from someone.
Well, the women are staying in situationships because they want to prove their worth to themselves, maybe. Yeah. And the men are staying in situationships because they get free sex without commitment.
Yeah.
So
also, men
that's
ask,
the sad state of affairs.
I mean, men ask, but the women has to say yes at the end.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's equivocal.
There was no reason to change her face. It completely
Right.
changes it would be like Sydney Sweeney trying to go from sex symbol to cute.
I don't know. I think that she already has a cute face. I think she definitely has a cute face. If she were categorized on TikTok, she would be called a bunny, not a fox.
Okay.
You know? She has those little bunny teeth.
DCNC says, Dane, cute.
Thank you.
Dane
I
is
agree.
a cutie.
Dane is cute. Dane is cute. And it's just like, imagine you're doing the show and it's between season 1 and season 2 and the character, they're like, did they recast her? Oh no, it's the same person. She
Also, the joy just left her eyes, huh?
Yeah. She probably can't actually smile in this photo.
Literally, it doesn't work.
Her face muscles have been paralyzed
Here's what-
to continually make the
She's
cunty
actually
look.
smiling in that. That's the sad part. She's probably actually smiling in that photo. It's just that's as far as her mouth goes.
Yeah.
And that's it's like, all I'm saying is, like, I got no problem with you getting all the plastic surgery, but if your personality doesn't match the sex the sex doll face, then it's going to be weird when people realize that your personality doesn't match what you look like.
She's not smizing either.
No.
The only plastic surgery or cosmetic procedure that she needed in the first photo is to detach her earlobe. That's the only thing she needed.
Okay.
I don't think she needed any surgery. I think she was perfectly
Would
fine.
you consider yourself one of the men who prefers the fake look? Because all of your comments have kind of made it seem like that.
I have no problem with the fake look. But
What's the fake look?
I don't know.
I would say that puts you in a very small minority of men because
didn't say
most
that.
men say
No, I did
they
not
hate
say-
the lip injections, they hate the Botox, they hate all of it.
I hate that. I hate makeup.
But
hate
there's
makeup.
also there's a vast difference between something you find sexually appealing necessarily and something necessarily you'd want to take home to introduce
Something
to mom
trustworthy?
that you'd want to take home to mom and dad. The primal side says yes, that's attractive, but the side of you that's rational and understands that that's not necessarily somebody you want to take home to meet your parents understands that that's not necessarily somebody that's going to be good for you.
Are all women just trying to appease the bread?
Yes.
They all watch Pop Culture Crisis,
That's
and it's
exactly
like,
what
listen,
it
I
is.
need to get on the hottest podcast that's gonna get 100,000 subscribers within the month of January. God blessing, and it's. I mean, I'll do whatever. Oh, he likes the fake Brett. Just say that, for the betterment of these women, you'll take them as they are.
Sure.
That I don't think that's convincing enough.
Sure.
Like,
I have no such preference.
plastic surgery stocks just went up the roof.
I have no such preference. I don't have a problem with it at all. So I'm in. Yes, perfect. Saranko Production says Brett is indifferent. Yes, I'm ambivalent on the subject. I just like hot women. Are they real-looking hot women? Are they fake-looking hot women? I'm Switzerland on this matter. I don't really care. All right.
Tim had a really intellectual comment about this, by the way, in reaction to the before and after. He said, "Wow, WTF."
By the way, Tim's best quote of all time is "Some guys like fat chicks."
Yep. I remember that.
I'll never forget.
$20 from Bender the Offender. One thing about plastic surgery that people often don't talk about is that they are falsely representing their genes.
Yeah, the kids are going to come out different looking, and the guys going to be like, what the hell? I didn't sign up for this.
True.
Yep. All right, guys, let us hold off on the rest. Is that everything I think we got through there?
So.
What would you guys like to see, cringe or cute of the day?
Cringe.
Cringe?
Dane
Let's
decides.
start with cringe.
Wait,
All right.
only one?
What? No.
If it's only one, cute.
No, we do both. We gotta watch. We gotta watch them both. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's watch this one here.
Oh, birth control.
Birth control alarm.
Here we go.
I have ladies that ask me all the time, hey, I feel guilty because I'm in business and I have my kids and I'm not spending time with them.
Already
How much time are you giving them? They're like, well, a couple hours. And I'm like, couple hours? I mean, that's freaking a lot of time. It really is. I give my kids 20 minutes. 20 minutes. My kids don't need more than 20 minutes. But in those 20 minutes, when I'm home, I'm a different woman every day for my kids. When I see them, we play Ring Around the Rosie on the outside. You know, we play, I throw them, I'll do things they don't expect me to do. I don't sit and I don't play with my phones when I'm with my kids. I try to surprise them. I try to do stuff that they don't expect. That's the thing. You're not making the best out of your time. Sometimes your kids get used to you just being there and not really being there. I have
So be there less is what she's saying.
Yeah, dude, she's speed running, getting sent to a nursing home.
Damn, Dane.
Oh God, Jesus. What a
And like
detestable
someday
woman.
she will be like her kids will Munchausen her, and then nobody will be shocked.
Listen,
So-
throw a football, and the
Yeah.
next day you kick a soccer ball, and then you ignore those because you gotta min-max your company.
Yeah, like, what's the point of having
Freeze your
kids?
eggs!
What's the point of having kids if you can't ignore them? Is it $20?
I give them 10 great minutes. I don't look at my phone. I have a neural net implanted in my head, and yes, I'm ignoring them as I'm with them, but I bought them a chocolate from Germany that I can afford.
Exactly. $20 one here from Ben
God.
Tomsky says, forget their bodies, work on your personalities, ladies. No amount of surgery can fix a bitch.
Oh.
Amen. DCNC says there's a case out of Thailand where the man sued his wife because she had an extensive surgery and the kids came out looking troll made.
Oh,
he
wow.
won the case. Based.
You know, that can happen even with two attractive people having a kid. It could turn out troll made anyway.
Yep.
And then two ugly people could have a kid that's really attractive.
Why are you guys so good at finding cringe? Like I've never left this show after a cringe of the day and not thought about it on the car being like, that just ruined my whole day. Every time. It's so horrible.
Mary is very good. I found this one, but Mary's usually the one who finds the cringe.
Yeah.
You need help.
There's another $20 from Disco Jensen saying that woman's kids are going to be socially inept till they're old enough to put her in a home.
Yep.
Hey, that's my
Well,
point.
you know, but she'll leave them a
You
business.
get what you fucking deserve.
but she'll leave them a successful business, so all will be fine.
Yeah, it's all worth that inheritance.
Haven't they watched any of the last 30 years of movies and television where the kids of rich people end up sociopathic bad people because daddy never loved them much? Like, cautionary tale. That's all I'm saying. Cautionary tale. Like, if Lionel Luthor loved Lex a little bit more, maybe Superman wouldn't have been in such a tough spot all the time.
Okay. Spending 2 hours with your kids where you're on your phone the whole time is worse than spending 20 minutes with them where you're actually involved.
Is it really?
What's better is spending 2 hours with them where you're actually involved.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have a business.
You're not running a company, man.
Guess I'm not a boss babe to see that.
When's the last time you got him some German chocolate that you can't afford?
Why are you talking about German chocolate?
I don't know. Like, this is the character of her I've made in my head.
Okay.
Like she thinks that everything in Europe is better. She imports it, and those freaking kids are lucky that they get 20 minutes a day. I get billed $2,000 by the hour. They don't give me a cent.
Also, it just goes against
Thank you.
nature that back in the day, the mom would have been there and the dad would have been the one who ignored them.
You know,
Now the mom can. I guess
I
it's
almost
true
thought
equality.
that this woman was trans when I first
Oh.
saw the clip.
Where's the dad in all this?
Yep. Well, he's
Freaking jacked.
He's probably at home, staying with the kids.
Did you guys see
She's the
that
boss babe.
stay-at-home husband video?
I haven't, but I've scrolled past it. What was it about? Thank you, guys.
It was.
Yo! Thank you for helping me.
We literally haven't even gotten
It
started.
never gets better.
Okay, we're moving on, guys. Let's do Q of the day real quick here. All right, so first here we got from Julia says, this is Bob. Yes, Bob. He has no tail, showed up at our house one day and never left. He kills everything, including mice, gophers, birds, snakes, and even bats, always bringing it to the door to show us.
Consume in. Come on.
See, your cat chooses you. You don't choose your cat.
I agree.
That's the truth. Oh, you touched the dead bat?
Yep.
All right.
What
That's a
happened to his
choice.
tail?
We got here.
That's a choice.
Yep. All right, let's do one more here. This one here is from Levi. It says, Princess Rowena with her boyfriend. Ooh, Hulk Hogan.
No.
The Hulkster. I had that one.
That's
I had the
cute.
Sting one. Or I'm sorry, I had the Ultimate Warrior one. All right, let us move on, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get
Yes.
started. Now that we're 1 hour and 6 minutes into the show, let's go ahead and get started. So there was a gigantic hullabaloo over the weekend in which everyone got mad because Gina Carano is doing something she's been doing very regularly for a while. She is going to a fan convention, but some people have decided that apparently makes that convention unsafe.
This is the Vancouver Fan Expo. I don't know why you would voluntarily go to Canada, but no judgment here. Some fans say that inviting Gina Carano to the Fan Expo could create an unsafe environment at the convention following her controversial social media posts.
Do you want to read what this the person who filed this complaint essentially said?
Yes, this is from Lana Redkin, I believe.
Yes.
Or is it Redlick? Who is a cosplayer and a voice actress who's attending the convention. She said she didn't even want to name the former Mandalorian actress who's facing the backlash.
They love to Voldemort people.
She said the announcement that Gina Carano would attend the convention felt like a slap in the face. It felt like an enormous slap in the face to everything the convention really should be standing for. Considering they should know who is their target audience. Being young people, queer people, LGBT people, people of color, people from all walks of life that are so diverse that it feels like it's just completely goes against, everything that they should be standing for. So that was the complaint.
Before we get started, what I really want to point out here is what they never do. They never link to the actual post, which got her in trouble.
Well, yeah,
which I have here.
They word it in this article saying that Gina Carano has strong political views on issues such as the 2020 election, vaccines, and the Holocaust, which essentially would imply to someone uninitiated that Gina Carano is a Holocaust denier.
But this is what she actually posted that finally put the nail in the coffin for her at Disney. It says, this was a story post from her back in the day. It says, Jews were beaten in the streets, not by Nazi soldiers, but by their neighbors, even by children. Because history is edited, most people today don't realize that to get to the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them simply for being Jews. How is that any different from hating someone for their political views? That was and just remember, this is not too long after Pedro Pascal made his post where he put losers in 1945, losers, blah, 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 where he's basically calling Trump supporters Nazis. One of those kept their job, the other one didn't. Fun fact, the one who lost their job was the one who was criticizing the constant polarization of our political climate. And the fact that she is the one that lost her job and then has to then be, again, Voldemorted by these people where they don't even want to mention her name and where they refuse to actually link to the things that she said, which are not in any way all that controversial, is why the media is so good at slandering people.
The second part of this also was that she was subjected to a genderqueer struggle session because she refused to put her pronouns in her bios on social media. And she proceeded to put her pronouns as beep boop.
Yeah, beep bop boop or beep boop bop. And here's the thing. There are plenty of employees at Disney that don't have pronouns in their bios, but what it really is, you know how they always say the left gets, liberals get the bullet too, like Antifa saying that? They will come for you no matter what. Right? So the idea here is that they just happened to set their sights on her. I think in a lot of ways because they expected her to be the girl boss progressive woman that they wanted, because like when she got hired, a lot of people were like dunking and being like, oh, see, Star Wars is going to have a strong woman character. And then when she wasn't what they expected her to be, they started coming for her with these types of things on Twitter. Why don't you have your pronouns in your bio? And despite the fact that plenty of other people that work for the company don't have them in their bio either,
including Pedro Pascal.
He does.
He does?
He does. Yeah. So of course. But the point is that like they made her a target, and just by making her, maybe he doesn't now, but he did at the time. They made her a target, thereby you have no recourse but then to either bend the knee or hope that they don't come for you. But they came for her and she refused to do that, all over something so minor. Does he?
He still does.
Yep. See? It's insane. And it's absolutely insane. And the idea that somehow her going to this fan convention makes the convention less safe is bonkers. And when you read this this young woman's post, it really does read as cultish, because it's all the same buzzwords that everybody regurgitates over and over again.
These are the kids of the lady that buys German chocolate.
Basically, yeah.
I mean, is it true that the target audience for a fan convention of this sort is full of queer, LGBT, woke, diverse
Honestly, I think so.
people? Like,
Maybe that's what they're looking for now, but back in the day, that's not who the audience is.
Every gaming convention or event that I see now is like a subtle LGBTQ march. Like it's honestly like,
well, they found something they could colonize, basically.
I mean,
That's
I
not.
don't know if there's a thing they haven't at this point.
There's not the same nerd fan base that used to exist for something.
It
like
was
Star Wars,
Xbox
especially.
Live chat rooms.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. As I always say, they're looking to branch out from their traditionally white, traditionally male, traditionally 40-year-old audience of people with disposable income who can actually afford to buy your overpriced, ridiculous products that nobody needs. Like Funko Pops exist because men in the middle class have disposable income. Or they did.
True.
Right? So if you go down the list from the tweet from Global BC, which is who wrote this article, it's almost unanimous support for Gina Carano. So it says, Nerdrotic says, we love Gina Carano. Valiant Renegade says, unsafe. Why? Is some left-wing fruit gonna threaten violence if she shows up?
Oh, Culture Casino said, when did Canadians go from kind to cowards? So afraid of words, but still salute Nazis with government showering them with praise. For my Canadian friends, get out of Cuba north. And Lauren Southern might show up at the convention. She said, looks like I may have to attend Fan Expo for the first time in a long while. Lauren Southern is Canadian and a cosplayer.
Yep. Geeky Sparkle says, this makes no sense. She was never against anyone. She just didn't want to put pronouns in her bio, like a lot of other Lucasfilm employees who don't have pronouns in their bios either. How is she racist now? Yes, exactly. It's funny how it becomes like a game of telephone where one person says, she said this and she said this and by the end of it, you're a Nazi.
This is funny. So Paul Chato said, yes, a couple of non-binary cosplayers ready with their outfits are freaking out over Gina Carano's appearance. They never read Gina's posts, but were told they were horrific by someone who talks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's like intentional. Every time that there's an article about someone like Gina Carano or Roseanne Barr, they'll mention these horrifically offensive
They
posts.
never link to them.
They never link to them. They never show a screenshot, and they never quote them unless it's something that's extremely out of context to make them look as bad as possible.
Because the media is evil, ladies and gentlemen. Baron of Grey Matter says evolutionary dead ends. That is what they are. No diggity 24/7. Thank you. Says, happy Monday, Brett, Mary, and Crisis Actors from 0 Degrees, Minnesota. Dane is here. Let's go. The cringe may ruin your day, but Dane on this show makes everyone's day.
Thank you.
Yes. And I'm sorry that it's 0 degrees over there in Minnesota. I don't miss that. I don't miss that at all. I have yet to wear a
It's like
jacket.
30
Oh, you
here.
did.
I've yet to miss that since. No, I love the winters here because it gets down to like the 30s, which are perfect for me. Like
Perfect?
I've yet to wear a jacket like since I've been here.
I think 60 is perfect or something.
No, like 50.
You're used to Puerto
58.
Rico, you know.
58 is the
Precisely
perfect
58.
55, but 58 is perfect.
I feel like I'm always arguing about the weather here with people.
So, So guys, just remember that the media is not your friend, that the media wants to get everybody who doesn't agree with them politically in trouble all the time.
Well, Gina Carano hasn't made an official statement responding to this, but she has shown everyone that she is not afraid of them by announcing that she is adding a day to her appearance at the Fan Expo. She'll now be there on both Sunday and Monday.
Good for her.
Looking forward to meeting you. If you've never been to one of these, I highly recommend. Can't believe how much I enjoy them. So she's just being positive, just being exactly like her Twitter Avi, which is a little bunny rabbit.
I said to Mary,
holding a weapon.
I said to Mary earlier, I said, like, I don't use the term lightly, but she does always on social media come off as an absolute sweetheart. She does. Mm-hmm. And everybody that has met her and has interacted with her has a bad thing to say about her. You know, so
right.
She's a woman of the people in a lot of ways. And not just that, this was from January 9th. And I just thought it was funny because it kind of pertains to all this, because she was responding to something about a new video from James Lindsay about how to survive a struggle session, how to beat a struggle session, which is what she went through. She said, understand what a struggle session is and do not participate. I went through a very intense public one at the height of my career. James Lindsay explains it here very well. It wasn't easy, especially not understanding what was happening at the time, but my soul is intact, and that's worth more than anything. I want to share this with you so more are prepared. Make sure you and your loved ones understand what a struggle session is, because we are going to see a lot more of it in the future, and no one is immune.
Do you want to watch the video from James Lindsay?
It's a long. It's an intellectual. It's from his New Discourses channels. But I do recommend everyone, if you want to understand what is going on in the current culture from an intellectual perspective, from somebody who's very good at explaining things that are very, very complicated. If you like long form content, James Lindsay is absolutely the person you want to go through. You want to go to and watch that stuff. If you're smarter than me and you actually like reading books rather than audiobooks, I also recommend checking out his all of his literature is all very, very good. Like I remember when I got Critical Theories, and it took me forever to read it because it's just been so long since I'd sat down and read an actual book, right? Because I listen to a lot of books on audio cassette or audio tape or whatever, or Audible and stuff like that. But I don't think at that time it was out there, and to sit there and read it, and I'm just like having to reread pages because I realized that I'd read a whole page and not comprehended, so I have to go back up to the top. It's he's really, really good. Fun fact, he's the only person here who I sought out to like meet and shake the hand of all the people that have come here. I definitely, like, most of the time when we're working, like by the time we're done, they're already getting ready to do IRL. They're already in pre-show or whatever. But like I made a point both times to go down and talk to James Lindsay because I think he's fantastic.
For me, he was like top 3 coolest guys that have been here.
Yeah. Yep, he's great. All right, so guys, support the likes of Gina Carano, because they're the ones who are pushing back on a lot of this stuff right now, which all very much sucks. All right, Super Chats.
Shane H. Wilder said, happy Monday, Brett, Mary, and Dane, every woman font. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. I got to finally release my article on Made yesterday. Now I can go back to making people laugh.
All right.
Speaking of Canadians.
As in the
medical assistance in dying program.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It's not dystopian at all.
DCNC said Dane Fahant.
I never understood. I don't even remember where that meme came from. The H.
There's an actor named Dane DeHaan.
I don't know.
There we go.
Yeah. Corey Anderson said Mary with dark hair looks like Billie Eilish.
I look, okay.
Be honest.
Maybe a little.
You don't look like her at all.
No.
Mary, Billie Eilish looks like you. How about that?
So true. I was born first, so.
There you go.
Oh, well.
Heavy Burn Man said, like the video.
Yes.
You guys should like the video if you haven't already. S. Mill said Mary Morgan.
Well, it technically says Heart, Mary Morgan.
Heart. Yes. Shane H. Wilder said, what is worse, Mean Girls 2 or Mean Girls Remake?
I never saw Mean Girls 2.
There's a 2?
I did see Mean Girls 2.
There is a 2?
It's like direct to DVD.
It doesn't have any of the original cast in it.
What's the premise?
I don't even remember. It was really dumb.
Girls be mean?
I almost want to say that Mean Girls 2 was worse, to be honest.
Wow.
Yeah, don't waste your time with it.
Let's hold off on the rest and we'll come back after the fact.
Okay.
Let's move on. Mary, tell us what the hell is going on with Ariana Grande.
Ariana Grande just released music for the first time in a 3-year-long hiatus. Her new single is titled Yes and And I think it should be titled Homewrecker Anthem because that's exactly what it is. She is using this song and its lyrics to double down on her decision to ruin a man's marriage, hook up with a married man who has a newborn baby. And she thinks that she's actually the victim in this situation and that we have been prying into her personal life and it's none of our business. So she, in this music video, shows a bunch of actors who play music critics criticizing her on things that don't matter, like her appearance and her hair. And they say, you know, they've been listening to rumors on the internet that they think are true, but they're not. Let's look at that clip from her music video first.
Piece of shit.
That was
right, exactly.
I'm sorry, but that was some of the worst acting I've ever seen.
I missed all
in
right.
my
It's
entire
really
life.
bad. It's
Dude, you're
really
like
bad.
80. What do you care?
Well, I read it on the internet, so it must be true. Basically, Ariana Grande is trying to reverse the narrative about her because she's not in good standing right now with the public after hooking up with the guy that played SpongeBob on Broadway, who is married and has a newborn baby. That's essentially all the information you need to know.
now people are
She's
saying
preparing
that-
to release an album and she needs people to like her again, and she has kind of tried to shift the narrative so that people feel bad for her, so they apologize to her for believing this story.
But they're also saying that they didn't actually get together, like when it was. They're saying he was broken up.
We'll get to that. I mean, okay, I looked at the lyrics, and here is one that addresses the critics. Your business is yours, and mine is mine. Why do you care so much whose boob I ride?
Wow.
Classy.
Bars.
Very
I also
vulgar,
like. I'm sorry, but I also
right?
like that you say boop and not beep. I feel like the sound effect would be beep.
I think it's a boop. I think it's boop.
The boop
We
is
should
like,
ask Gina Carano.
We
if
could
it's
ask
boop or
her.
boop.
Yes.
why would she know?
Because her pronouns were beep bop boop.
There we go.
Yeah. Also, there is a part in the chorus where she says, "Boy, come on, put your lipstick on. No one can tell you nothing." And this on Genius says, while many would consider makeup as something reserved only for women, Ariana encourages men to express themselves with the power of makeup and not care what others might think.
Based.
This isn't the first time she's defended makeup as something for all genders. So I guess she's trying to add in a shameless plug for her makeup line. I guess that's all she's been doing in the meantime between albums. This is just a big load of garbage. It's self-serving garbage, like you said, Dane.
It's crazy.
So
it's so lame.
Here's
too.
my theory. I think that Ariana Grande had her PR team reach out to Page Six, who initially reported on her affair, and say, we'll pay you this lump sum of money for you to backtrack what you initially reported and say that it was untrue so that people don't think that Ariana Grande is a homewrecker anymore, so that she can release an album and be in good standing with the court of public opinion. So Page Six actually did release a new article about Ariana Grande and Ethan Slater's relationship. If you're unaware, they met on the set of Wicked, the musical that's coming out. I think it's next year. And at the time, both of them were married. And it is unclear and unconfirmed when exactly their relationship began and when each of their marriages ended. Her divorce was finalized in October, and that is the same month that Ethan Slater filed for divorce from his wife, who had only just recently given birth to their baby. By the way, Ariana Grande held their baby and hung out with them as friends before this happened. It's absolutely disgusting. So here is what the article in Page Six said. Regardless of what people had to say, there is no hard evidence that Ariana Grande did anything to separate Ethan Slater from his estranged wife. This is always what they say when they haven't actually finalized a divorce. They say his estranged wife. So Ethan Slater filed for divorce from a, quote, completely blindsided Lily J, with whom he shares a 17-month-old son in July 2023. By then, Page Six had already confirmed that Ariana Grande and Ethan Slater were an item after meeting on the set of Wicked. Ariana Grande and her husband of 2 years, Dalton Gomez, finalized their split in October 2023 after Page Six confirmed the dissolution of their marriage in July as well. Although Ariana and Ethan's new relationship was reported around the same time as their breakups, the actual timeline of their romance is unknown to the public. Furthermore, a person close to the situation told Page Six that Ethan Slater and Lily J had been broken up for 2 months before he started dating Ariana Grande.
Someday I want to be the person who's close. I want to be the person
who is the anonymous source.
I want to be the person who gets to be someone familiar with the situation. Says.
The only hint that something shady went on came from Lily J, who told Page Six in July last year that Ariana Grande was not a girl's girl and that her family was just collateral damage to her new relationship with
I think this guy went
estranged husband.
Went about this the wrong way. He just had to sit his wife down and put some Andrew Tate on and be like, listen,
yeah,
you date one guy, I date multiple women, I'm the alpha. Like, what of this are you not getting?
For some reason, I think the guy who played SpongeBob SquarePants on Broadway isn't exactly the alpha type.
Honestly, it would be really, really funny if that's like his whole playlist is all like Andrew Tate and Kevin Samuels.
Ariana is trying to like de-radicalize him or something. Yeah. So now because of this Page Six article, everyone is trying to change their tune, and hashtag apologize to Ariana started trending. So just because it's unknown whether they started dating while they were both married, we're supposed to assume that they're innocent, even though this is the same woman that has a song called Break Up With Your Girlfriend, I'm Bored. Like, wow. She makes a reputation off of dating men who are in relationships. Yep. And essentially being a homewrecker, and gets surprised when people believe she might be a homewrecker. Yep. And so one of her fans tweeted, Ariana Grande deserves the biggest apology from everyone. Page Six needs to be sued for defamation. They've been trying to tarnish her reputation since last year, and now they're backtracking everything because they got zero evidence, a smear campaign right in front of our eyes. But the truth is Ariana Grande tarnished her own reputation.
There's a $20 super chat here from Pat the Plumber. Says, Brett, you can tell lefties all Tim's secrets. Ah, is that what
Oh, you're the source familiar with the Timcast situation.
A source familiar with the castle. Said
if there were a Page Six for right-wing media companies.
I still believe that that's what this show should have been. It should have been nothing but just right-wing gossip.
All I hope is
everyone would hate us, but it would be amazing.
All I hope is that when this all goes up in smoke, that the Netflix documentary like starts with a pan of me being like, listen.
When this all goes up in smoke.
Maybe Jonathan Majors will play Tim in the Netflix version.
Maybe Ethan Slater should play Tim in the Netflix.
No.
It'll be a musical.
Okay.
Timcast the musical.
Yeah.
Timcast goes to Broadway.
No, what you get is you get
Monique as Brett.
No, of course.
Obviously.
But like you get Lin-Manuel Miranda to do it like Hamilton, and there's a song called Civil War.
Oh, jeez. I don't even
Civil War.
About that
Civil War.
It would be amazing. I would watch that. I would absolutely.
Shut up, Ian. Civil War.
Ian would play himself because he's a thespian
because he's
by
an
trade
actor.
anyway.
Absolutely, it would be fantastic. And then Luke would, and then it would be like, there'd be a song called "Interrupted" with Luke, and it would be like it'd be great.
Luke would be the hardest person because you would have to get someone that could say children.
Wait, what?
And
have you ever heard him say children? Like he says children.
Liberty. It'll be great.
Liberty.
It'll be fantastic. So we're gonna get that play someday, and it'll be fantastic. I don't know, but yeah, Ariana Grande is just. I look at this stuff. I just don't understand why it matters because I don't feel like these types of rumors actually hurt her album sales.
This is so stupid. This is so stupid. Are the same three petty gay guys the PR representatives for every single one in the universe?
Yes.
Yes.
Like, what is the strategy?
And there should be a biopic made about them.
But like, I love the eclectic nature of this. Yeah, there should be a biopic. Absolutely. I love the eclectic nature of this story. It's like, oh, they didn't cheat. Like, I'm innocent. Anyway, here's my new song. I totally cheated with it. Like, what the fuck?
I mean, is the idea that just because people are saying something online means it's not true? Like, you should only trust it if it comes from Page Six? Like, I don't understand.
The idea that authoritative news sources are in any way more reliable than the internet.
And now Page Six is considered an authoritative news source.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't think that this type of gossip hurts her album sales. I think if anything, it just elevates her image more. Like you said, she's already made a character, made a career out of being this type of person. I don't know why she'd want to change it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that she's just such a narcissist that she wants complete control over her public image, even if it has nothing to do with her album sales. We got a $20 from Disco Jensen saying Ariana could have a turbo Chad. She chose a SpongeBob. It was definitely some spiteful-ish because she has her pick of the litter. Trash human. Yes, if you are Ariana Grande, and you are like, you have your pick of the litter of any guy that you want in the entertainment space, why would you go for...
Can she get a pick of the litter? Is she like...
I mean, yeah, she's
Ariana
dated
Grande?
a lot of famous guys. She used to be with Mac Miller. She used to be with Big Sean. Pete Davidson, of
Obviously.
course. Pete Davidson is like apparently the most sought after man in the entertainment world. So yeah, she can choose from any guy she wants, but she chooses the married man with a newborn baby who played SpongeBob on Broadway.
Look, maybe
what is wrong with you?
Maybe he's just a really great person.
Oh yeah,
he must be.
I'm sure he's just a great guy. He's got a great personality.
He looks like he has it all like.
Oh,
well
and you
together.
chose the guy that has an eerie resemblance to your gay brother.
What?
Like, yeah,
He does. He looks a lot like her brother.
it's insane.
This
Like
is
if you put them side by side, it's really creepy.
this is a pattern. that
You think? You've seen other women date guys who look like their brother?
Wasn't it Billie Eilish?
Oh, Phineas, Billie Eilish's brother did marry a woman who looks eerily similar to Billie. Yes.
Oh, it was the okay. Well, there we
Yeah.
go.
I guess that might be a thing for these weirdos. I just think she's a degenerate hoe bag. And she's kind of made being
Very-
I'm wondering, guys,
excessively...
here's the photo.
Very succinct. Very on the.
Look at that. Literally, they were made in the same petri dish.
He does look like SpongeBob though.
He kind of
That's awesome. I love SpongeBob.
Yeah, so
There you
Frankie
go.
Grande was on the left there.
pics.
All right, guys. Yes, I don't think this hurts her career at all. I think she'll be just fine. I think she should just play it up. She should just lean into it. Make herself a supervillain. That would be like just make herself a really, really bad person for the sake of album sales. She's in her villain era. It'll be perfect.
I think she's just so excessively vulgar for someone who
That
looks
tiny.
cute, not like, not voluptuous. Like she's not a Jennifer Lopez, but she's making songs about like, getting railed so hard that she can't walk the next day. Like
What?
it doesn't really make sense to me, but I'm sure that her and SpongeBob are going to be riding off into the sunset, happy forever after.
We got a $20 one here from Left-Handed Link. Says, told my mom she needed to go to confession for the bug eyes and chipmunk cheeks comments. Our pastor always gives 3 Hail Marys as penance. Fitting, right?
So fitting.
you
Yes.
Link is already left-handed.
I guess my beef with your mom is squashed now. Okay, let's go
I
to
forgot
Superchats.
about that. I was like, what? And then yes, that was from the other day.
Shane H. Wilder said, damn, Dane waxing poetic over here.
Per usual, huh?
Yep.
I mean,
Nothing wrong with that, my friend.
you have a degree. So
I have several.
Like, I went to college.
Several degrees. I'm so in debt. Like, you don't even get it.
You're in turbo
The
debt.
more debt you're in, the more you wax poetic.
I will not pay this off. Like,
Guys, every crisis party will contribute to Dane's student debt.
if only. Oh, wait, to the debt?
Let's do 3
It
more.
increases it?
S. Mill said no biopic about Billy Joel because he won't give permission.
Good for him.
But what do we know about his estate?
Yeah, you're screwed one day.
Yeah. The DJ Foy said Brandon Lee turned down playing his dad, Bruce.
There you go.
Yeah, also, I think they wanted Lady Gaga to play Amy Winehouse in the biopic, but she felt it would be, like, unethical.
There you go.
Unethical.
I don't know.
And then, yeah, let's do 2 more.
Grofty said Musk.
Oh, that was
Oh, no, that was a $20 one. DC&C said it was criminal Mark Oliphant was left out of the Oppenheimer story and others on Maude. Then again, made for a U.S. audience, so whatever, right?
Well, yeah, we're the most important demographic. We are what matter. Sorry, world.
Based.
Yeah. Taxi Flatty said, I'm late driving home. Show video to Dane.
It's been requested,
Ready?
ladies and gentlemen. All right, here we go. So,
You are not ready for this.
You guys know the rules. We have a rule here at Pop Culture Crisis where, if requested with certain guests, we will show them the trailer to People's Joker. And remember, you can make the pain stop at any point. Just takes a $20 super chat. So here, Dane, are you ready?
No.
Here we go.
Hi, I'm Vera Drew, and 3 months ago, comedian Brie LaRose dared me to re-edit Todd Phillips' Joker. Now, I'm an Emmy-nominated editor who works primarily with Tim and Eric, so I could give you your standard alt-comedy Joker remix with fart sound effects and rhythmic cuts over nightmare drones, and you'd gobble it up, wouldn't you little piggy? But I'm currently unemployed and stupidly ambitious. So for the past 3 months, I've been writing a feature-length screenplay called The People's Joker. Utilizing clips from the 2019 Oscar contender, footage from other iterations of Joker's past, and just movies that feature clowns.
What is
as
this?
well as additional footage that I'll be shooting in the privacy of my own bedroom, I'm creating an entirely new feature film.
And we've got it here. We've got... It's a trans Joker movie, Dane. That's what it is. Well, from Heavy Birdman
Isn't the new
says,
one that?
Stop. Disco Jensen says, stop the video.
Thank God.
It's done. Guys, it has been stopped. All right. Thank
This is
you.
becoming a tradition on the show.
Guys, salute the
You are aware.
Patriots that paid $20 to stop this.
Yep, that's
sevens in
so you
chat.
can make this stop at any time. All the people just saying in the chat, make it stop. You're wasting your words. You got to put your money where your mouth is.
We're cold-hearted capitalists here, okay?
All right, let's continue. Let's do one. No, we'll just do this one more. Trudy Jones says,
my
nope,
God.
keep the pain going. And as the rules, $100 one gets it going again.
Film acting debut, and I'll be portraying both Harley Quinn and the Joker. Using these characters, which I definitely don't own the rights to, I will be sharing the story of my transition and how I overcame mental illness and the cycle of abuse that I was stuck in a few years ago. It's your standard
Okay, and Gordon Shumway says, for the love of God, stop. We're done with it, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, the polls are closed here on People's Joker here today. Maybe I'll show Dane the rest of it afterwards.
No.
All right, Mary, let's keep going
You
then.
deserved to see that,
Yes.
though.
Mary, tell us what the hell is going on
okay.
with the show Girls.
Yes, a scene from Lena Dunham's show on HBO called Girls has just resurfaced on X, and a lot of people had mixed reactions to it. It shows Adam Driver and Jillian Jacobs playing a couple on the show, and her character, Mimi Rose, gets an abortion without telling her boyfriend of, I believe, about a month and a half long relationship. And people had strong feelings about it, but a lot of people were accused of misinterpreting this scene because they think that it glorifies abortion rather than showing how complex and thorny of an issue this is. So let's take a look at the scene in question. This was posted, by the way, by a pro-life activist named Kristen Hawkins. The first time I saw her was on the Whatever channel, by the way, on an abortion debate. She captioned it, thinking about that time, HBO's Girls attempted to normalize abortion as women's empowerment, but all I could see is the devastating reaction of a father-to-be who just found out his baby was murdered.
Okay, here we go.
Just a couple of things I can't do because I had an abortion yesterday.
Was it mine?
Yeah, of course it was yours. I didn't want to talk about it beforehand. I just wanted to do it. But I haven't shared with boyfriends in the past. I'm trying to be more open with you.
Recurring
You're
event.
open with me. How many abortions have you had?
I'm not going to share that with you because that is private. I'm not going to ask you how many girls you've gotten pregnant.
None. It's not private. I've gotten no girls pregnant except for you now.
Just a couple of things I can't do because I had an abortion yesterday.
Yeah.
What a nonchalant way to say that.
Yeah.
Right, that was the reaction of most people who saw that scene. I don't think that, if I had to guess, I don't think that this scene was written to be flattering to the girlfriend who got the abortion.
I thought the take here was really, really interesting that they were saying, I guess the idea is that because they're main characters, that it's pro that topic.
Thank you, guys.
I thought it was portrayed with a fair amount of
Is it getting louder?
No.
I feel like it was portrayed with a fair amount of gray area there, right? That they're not portraying
Right.
it as good or bad, just a reality of some women in modern culture.
So
It seemed very in character.
Yeah.
I also found, for further context, the continuation of this scene where they have an argument about it. Can we play that clip from Instagram,
Instagram one,
real
yeah.
quick?
Yeah, hold on here. All right, here we go. Oh, well, please.
Happen, people do crazy things. My parents got married after a fucking week.
Okay, so we should have the baby and put it in your toolbox as a cradle and feed it sardines and tell it that you don't know my middle name?
It's Rose!
No, my first name is Mimi Rose. My middle name is Eleanor.
I don't understand how you could do something like that without talking to me first. It's evil.
You're right, you don't understand. We've been together.
Yeah. So I don't think, again, that was written to be flattering to the girl who got the abortion without consulting the father of the child. I think that was a fairly nuanced take, even from a rabid pro-choice advocate like Lena Dunham. And, you know, you need to look no further for Lena Dunham's stance on abortion than this infamous quote where she said she wishes she had an abortion. She said, "I wanted to make it really clear that as much as I was going out and fighting for other women's options, I myself had never had an abortion. And I realized then that even I was carrying within myself a stigma around this issue. Even I, the woman who cares as much as anybody about a woman's right to choose, felt it was important that people know I was unblemished in this department. It was an important moment for me then to realize that I had internalized some of what society was throwing at us, and I had to put that in the garbage." She added, "Now I can say that I still haven't had an abortion, but I wish I had." So the writer of this show, Lena Dunham, is extremely pro-abortion. I wouldn't call her pro-choice. I would call her pro-abortion.
We got a $20 one here from Mikey. Says that scene was hard to watch coming from a guy who had to beg his now ex not to murder my oldest son.
I'm really sorry that you went through that.
Yeah. What I find more shocking than anything, it's the nonchalant nature in which it's brought up. She talks about it as if it's deciding where they're going to go to dinner tonight. And that to me is like a lot of the arguments that we're saying, like maybe, you know, the pro-choice people who are even more middle of the road were saying like maybe doesn't deserve a say in the matter, but he at least deserved to know beforehand that you were going to do it, is what they were saying. I'm not making that argument. That's the argument some of the people in the comments were making, right? But to say it after the fact, it would be like, I suppose, would it be like a couple and a guy comes home and goes, "Yeah, I got a vasectomy today.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't do anything today. I got a vasectomy." Like that's insane.
Like you got a haircut
Like I don't care
or
if you've only
something.
been together for a month and a half. You know, it's still a conversation you're supposed to have with that person. I don't feel like the time in which you've been together is actually pertinent to that for something as important as the creation of another human life.
Sure. I think a lot of people, when they came across this post on X, found it as an opportunity to dunk on the chick who posted it for misinterpreting it. Someone said this is an extremely shallow, naive, and ungenerous reading of what is, despite popular perception, a complex and interesting show. And other people were saying this is just proof that conservatives don't have an artistic bone in their body. They only see in black and white. They never appreciate the nuances in these stories, and that's why they're incapable of writing shows like this.
You know, the tribal don't have access to nuance on both sides.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely not a left or right thing.
Yeah. I think that's a fair
fair
thing to point out, right?
But I mean, I would think of Lena Dunham as one of the most extremist pro-abortion activists out there.
Dude,
Yet she was capable of putting this to air.
I think this is one of the most important quotes in modernity, because I think this was one of the first times where insane, progressive, nonchalant phrase that should be taken seriously was taken seriously. I think this was like the first time in like the era of like these people get forgiven, nay, encouraged for everything. People be like, that was gross. Like point blank, like no.
A lot of people also were calling girls unintentionally based.
I think what they mean, but like what I found these days is when people say that, or when people say something is anti-woke, what they actually mean is just fairly nuanced and actually story-driven. Most of the time.
I mean, I think when I think of the word anti-woke, I think of an overreaction from the other side that is anything but nuanced.
But I think that there's a misinterpretation there about what people think that word means. But I feel like a lot of times when people say that something's not woke, what they actually just mean is that it actually has a fair amount of nuance to the storytelling. You can tell a story with progressive elements if you do it well. The problem is most of what today in media, just like people rag on the right for having no ability to interpret art, a lot of what wokeism is, as much as we hate that word, is their own version of not being able to create nuanced art.
Woke
because the message comes first.
My definition of woke is like weaponized progressivism or lofty ideals.
And I getting into the definition, I still hate when that's still a big topic for debate about how people define that word. But the point is, it's when the art is so message driven that it loses the plot on how to actually be detailed, nuanced, story driven art. If the characters here are not portrayed as black and white, if there are shades of gray and the ability to interpret each character's actions as that of an individual written by a person to have their own unique, succinct personality, that isn't necessarily bad art just because you disagree with the message that is being portrayed there. And especially in a clip that short, I don't understand how you can come to such a black and white conclusion.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who is admittedly more temperamentally conservative, I feel like even if I weren't raised with conservative values, I would have ended up at this point anyway. I see things in a more black and white fashion. I'm willing to recognize that abortion is a complex issue, or at least the individual situations in which this moral conundrum arises are complex. However, there's nothing morally ambiguous, there's nothing complicated about the fact that this is an evil practice. There's nothing complex about the fact that abortion is evil. There's something complex about the individual situations that people end up in that lead them to consider abortion, but there's nothing complex about abortion itself. It is evil. Unambiguously evil. And I think that if the intention here was to make people think that abortion is this morally gray issue and you could do it the right way or the wrong way, I think that would be a bad takeaway from this scene.
Yeah, I'm not saying the issue is gray. What I'm saying here is the presentation of the perspectives is gray because everybody's the hero in their own story. She does not think that she's wrong. He does not think that he's wrong. Yeah. And the director, the writer, allowing you to decide for yourself is important for a lot of people when it comes to art. You have your stance, which of course, like you said, is colored by your beliefs, which means that you interpret it one way. Somebody else who grows up in a different household with different values would interpret it another way. When you start making that decision for the viewer, that's when the art slowly drifts into that territory of edutainment and telling you what to believe rather than letting you decide for yourself. The question is, are we as a society smart enough to make these interpretations on our own without being force-fed these beliefs?
My perspective to wrap all this up is that I've always found it fascinating because it is a complex and dirty subject, right? I've always found it fascinating that there's a subset of people that typically women, but now surprisingly more than ever men, that's this is my pet issue.
The topic of abortion?
Because I guess it makes sense the most for women because naturally they're in every step of the way they're a part of it, day, night, whatever. But I've never understood why, I think it's by nature of being a man, why it's the issue. You know how we talk about single, what's it called? Single subject voters or something like that? Single topic voters?
Single issue voters.
Single issue voters. I think out of all the single issues in history, the one that's most populated is this one.
Think so?
I think so.
Maybe in the U.S. I totally see why it's not a politically expedient issue to be a single issue voter on.
No, it's not.
I completely see that it's not politically expedient to be staunchly pro-life. Yeah, but I still am.
Yeah. I mean, even Trump has said we need to to find a middle ground.
Yeah, 'cause he's a liberal.
Yeah, exactly. So
He
like,
always has been a liberal.
It's like when he talks about religion, and I start laughing. I'm like, yes, of course. Like, what's your favorite Bible verse? He goes, all of them. I love them all. We got a $20 one here from Disco Jensen. It says, women kill babies in the womb to the tune of 73 million a year in the U.S., but cry genocide when a couple hundred get off thousands of miles away. Female hypocrisy at its height.
Wait, what is the second thing referring to?
What's going on in Palestine?
Oh, yeah.
Israel
Well,
and
social
Palestine.
media controls a lot of people's
I did
brains.
love the one, the Babylon Bee meme the other day that said like, it says like, liberal woman complains about not being able to walk alone at night while simultaneously voting for shorter prison sentences or for prison reform.
And for, indiscriminate immigration laws. I saw some interesting takes on this. One said, Girls is a good show and somewhat based, but only accidentally. Lena Dunham agrees with Britta's sociopathic attitude about abortion in this clip. She's not supposed to come off as unlikable. She just comes off as unlikable to normal people because normal people are normal.
Yeah,
Elite libs think that she comes off as completely reasonable. So I guess that with Girls, Lena Dunham was trying to make fun of her own ilk, but they didn't really get the joke.
In fairness, the art is in both characters are human and realistically portrayed. Yeah. Because usually when it comes to these subjects, it's always skewed to one side. Like, let's say it's like heavily right-winged, like the woman would be portrayed as even more of a monster. Yeah. And if it's skewed like heavily left-wing, the same would be sent for the male. So while had you not told me it was from the scene from the show Girls, the fact, which I only know from hearsay, I would have never guessed it was from that show by the pretty equivocal representation in the characters.
There's a $20 one here from Bender the Offender. Says, I had a frightening thought. Is there women out there that have abortions because they want to experience what it's like?
Well, if you ask Cosmopolitan, who is publishing articles about how to do a satanic abortion ritual ceremony, then they would say yes.
Yep.
But hopefully that doesn't actually represent the mainstream view on it. I mean, most people just believe in limited abortion.
I do love the idea that the term based just becomes a synonymous with the idea of nuance. Like, can we get away with the idea that it's because that implies intent from the creator that it's meant to be that way. I still think that there's some revisionism going around on Barbie. I really do. I do believe that there's this revisionist take that people have where they're looking deeply into Barbie to find something that isn't actually there. Now that's left up to interpretation, right? My interpretation of the film is based on the interviews with Greta Gerwig, where it doesn't seem like she has an extremely nuanced take on her movie, at least not one that she was able to explain in like a concise fashion during her interviews. But I do believe that
it's so nuanced that she can't explain it, Brett.
I love the idea of movies getting back to the idea of nuance.
Schrodinger's Barbie.
Yes, exactly. That's perfect.
There was nothing intentionally or unintentionally based about Barbie, in my opinion.
All right, let's go to Super Chats.
Shane H. Wilder said, so Sweethearts is just packaging up. Oh, you already read this one. DCNC said, regarding Godzilla, Brett does the opposite of what we say, except for the People's Joker. Drew, do you have anything to say for yourself?
Before this podcast started, I asked Brett what would he consider himself more, a contrarian or a pessimist? And
he's a contrarian.
In Brett nature, he gave like a roundabout answer.
He was like, I don't think I'm either one of those things.
He's like, well, Dane, let me tell you about IMDb trivia. And I was like, what?
No comment.
Okay, wow.
Infernal Saxon said, I used to make the tooling for Sweethearts.
Okay.
Cool.
What does that mean?
I'm guessing the machinery to do it.
Well, I guess this is your fault then.
I'm not a contrarian, by the way. I'm not a contrarian.
Okay.
What a contrary thought.
Cool, bro. Disco Jensen said,
that was rude.
A gift of Sweethearts and a Valentine's Day card was the schoolboy way of taking a chance back in the day.
I think they would call that risking it all. Now, it would be called risking
Remember
it all.
when you'd make like a little mailbox out of construction paper?
No.
for Valentine's Day?
I have no.
You guys didn't do this?
A what?
You would like make a mailbox and put it on your desk, and it's made out of construction paper on Valentine's Day, and you guys go around and you put your Valentines in the mailboxes.
No.
I can't be the only one who's done this. Okay.
You could definitely. Maybe.
I mean, here you are.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe it's just what made Gen Z so freaking soft.
Yep.
Yeah. We just bonk them with a hammer.
Now they just have you send it to their DMs.
Yeah.
Corey Anderson said, you skipped my second $20 super chat. Okay, we got that.
Yep.
Disco Jensen said, so population and societal collapse? In relation to what? We're both wondering. He also said, I ran through a lot of 304s. I regret it every day. Not enough men who can have the right mind to actually love and create families.
Especially in a society that doesn't seem to value it anymore in any way. They're not being given great examples of how to actually do it. Most of the time, the divorce rate's at 50%. The movies and the television talk about it like it's a fool's errand anyways. Why would you go into that as a young person today and expect it to be fruitful? Or
there's a lot of nuance, though, to that 50% statistic.
Yeah, I mean, the overall divorce rate also includes people who've been divorced before,
multiple
so.
times.
Yeah.
Let's do 2 more.
Corey Anderson said, Mary, I took your advice and checked out your Instagram. You have a lovely forehead.
There you go.
Thanks.
Perfect.
Okay.
Forehead confirmed.
Being a woman is understanding that one day you will be complimented on your forehead. Being a man is being understood that you will never be loved intrinsically. Being
For your forehead?
Being a woman is knowing that you will one day be complimented for your forehead.
That is the oddest comment I've ever,
It's been a topic of discussion.
Her forehead?
Yes.
Yeah. Because it's not visible. Yeah, it's mysterious.
I guess that's why I never thought about it.
Shane H. Wilder said, can someone explain why these women who are already pretty are having these surgeries that make them look like plastic monstrosities?
Because society tells them they're not pretty enough.
It's somehow this is men's fault.
This is guys' fault. And it's all the magazines and the Photoshop and the filters, all created by patriarchal men.
That was really good. Thanks for giving us agency for literally everything once again.
Yeah, it's hard to carry the world on our shoulders, but the more you're forced
but
to
we do
every day, you do it, okay?
We've gotten better at it.
We have. All right. Let's hold off on the rest. We'll come back. Mary, tell us what the hell's going on with Renee Rapp.
Renee Rapp played Regina George in this dumpster fire of a Mean Girls reboot that we recently reviewed. And I really don't like this chick. I gotta be honest. She seems like a whiny crybaby. She was on the Call Her Daddy podcast last year promoting this upcoming project, and for years she had been playing Regina George on the Broadway circuit, so she has a lot of experience with it. But she talked about this experience she had with her fluctuating weight while playing Regina George, and how the wardrobe consultants on the Broadway musical were trying to hide the fact that she was gaining weight by changing her wardrobe. She says that this really made her eating disorder worse, and she had incredibly bad body image issues as a result. She wanted to quit the role entirely, but here we are years later, and she got to play Regina George in the film adaptation. And I voiced this concern publicly and got a lot of shame for it.
And threats.
Because I said it makes no sense that someone playing Regina George would be chubby or overweight. It makes no sense.
And to the uninitiated, a fifth of the plot revolves about her being thin and getting chubby.
There is a 3-pillar plan to take down Regina George, and one of those pieces of the plan is taking away her technically good physique.
Thus, if there's no
she needs to have a technically good physique in order for that to be a part of the plot, doesn't she?
It would have been hilarious if they actually acknowledged the fact that she was chunky and said, we're gonna make her fat and not chunky. She's gonna go from chunky.
Yeah, actually gain weight for the role. Yeah. No, but the issue here is that Renee Rapp refused to lose weight to play this role, either on Broadway or in the film. And I find that to be incredibly entitled.
And then these men come out here, and Christian Bale's like, I'm gonna lose 200 pounds to do this movie, and then I'm gonna gain 200 pounds to do this movie, and then they get praised for it. So you'd think these women, they want to be praised like men. Maybe you should take the Christian Bale approach and you should lose a bunch of weight, and then you can go back and say that the next one is because you needed to gain the weight back to do something else. But they don't want all of these guys go do these superhero movies. If Kumail Nanjiani is putting you to shame on your physique, maybe you're the problem. As long as if you're complaining about it.
I mean, men get jacked for superhero roles and action movie roles all the time. It's just a base level expectation for them. But you can't be expected to lose 20 pounds to play a character who neurotically tracks calories and is obsessed with having a perfect body. It just doesn't make any sense. It's a double standard. Okay, so let's play some of these clips from that podcast.
This is actually a perfect example where it is a double standard against the men. And just acknowledge it. All right, here we go. Let's watch this one first, I guess.
I started working.
Can we full screen it?
I started working in Mean Girls on Broadway, and I was really, really sick. Had a horrible eating disorder, and I was laying in my bed in New York, and I remember FaceTiming my parents, and I was like, I cannot go to work.
She was 19 at the time, by the way.
I can't do it. Like, I can't go to that place. Like, I physically cannot be there. This is scaring the shit out of me. Like, I can't do that. I can't put on those costumes, not after everything that's happened, not after changing my costumes, not after this whole thing. Like, that was not my decision. I can't be there. I'm a kid. I'm a fucking kid.
19.
Again, I want to
19 with a full-time job.
I also want to mention that guys, again, as I say all the time on the show, sucks to suck, but guys and girls have different expectations. No guy is going to skate on this excuse.
Let's roll the next.
She doesn't look
you
overweight.
Get an eating disorder while on Broadway?
I had an eating disorder starting, I now know, when I was 10. Okay. It started, I danced competitively my whole life, and it was really a mind fuck on me. And
little potty mouth on this one.
It was just bad. And then it changed when I got into Mean Girls, because it went from a binge eating disorder to I'm not eating at all. And it was really tough.
The chat slip.
Did you get an eating disorder?
Okay.
All during the day, so I would get on stage and I would be shaking and about to pass out, and people would be like, oh, she's having an anxiety attack, let's pull her out for the show. Mind you, I haven't eaten in 24 hours. It was horrible. So yeah, I remember people who were close to me in my life were just I think it's just a thing where they want to highlight your curves. And I was like, you think? I was like, I'm pretty sure that a grown-ass man just told me that I'm not a size to be wearing this on a stage, but yeah.
Right, you're I'm not a fucking idiot.
They would tell the male actors, your physique is not up to par. They would talk about the things where Anthony Mackie and Chris Evans would talk about how before the scenes that they'd have to shoot that were that really involved their physiques, they would be literally lifting weight to have the pump right before the take. So in the scene where Chris Evans, you guys remember in Captain America, it's Winter Soldier, where Bucky is going to escape on the helicopter, and Captain America literally grabs the tail of the helicopter and the building and pulls the helicopter back. His arms are just exploding out of his shirt because he was literally working out right before he did the take. Okay? That's dedication to your craft. People don't compliment that because of the patriarchy. They compliment it because it's artistic dedication to your chosen profession. You are in a visual medium. It is your job to look a specific way on screen. Not always good. Sometimes if you're Brendan Fraser, you have to look bad on screen, but you have to be dedicated to the artistic element to it. The idea that your feelings and your personal problems come first, that's valid. You're allowed to do that, but you're then not allowed to complain when you don't get hired to take these roles or to have these roles. But they want to both have their cake, for lack of a better term.
Oh, they want to have their cake, and they want to have their cake, and they want to have their cake.
And then eat it, and then eat it too again.
And eat it too, and eat it too, and then throw it up, and then eat it too. A lot.
That's all I'm saying.
Is there a fourth part here?
And I saw that they were putting a skirt over my corset and stuff. And I knew when I got in there, I was like, oh, I know what this is for. I was like, I know exactly what this is. And because I could tell by the demeanor of the costumers and the people, they were like, we're so sorry. And I was like, I was like 19 years old, and I was like, oh, fuck. Mind you, at the time, I'm already in the show and getting like horrific messages from people online that's like, we didn't even want to be at the show because we saw that your like ass was hanging out and da 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 da. Mind you, I'm like, then I'm going into interviews as a teenager, and like the constant like thing that everyone is asking me is like, how does it feel being like a curvy woman playing a role and da da da. I'm like, A, I'm a teenager. B, this is also a wildly loaded conversation because now you're going.
Yeah.
We had $20 one here. You got that one?
No.
It says Salom. It says seems like abortion, like the legal system, is another tool used by some women to exact revenge and exert power at the expense of the child. Also, is wokeism pathological compassion?
There's no compassion. It's.
I think it relies on pathological levels of altruism in the people who consume wokeness. Yeah.
So anyways, back to Renee Rapp.
Yeah, I just don't feel any sympathy for this mindset. You know, if you are so sure that you don't want to do this role anymore and you're on the phone with your parents saying that you want to quit, then you should quit. If it's beyond your limit, you should quit the job and let someone else take the role.
Also,
but you didn't do that.
She said, I was a teenager. She was an adult. She was 19. Mm-hmm. So...
And she's like, I'm an effing kid. Like, if you were actually a kid, yeah, it would be terrible if people were trying to bully you for how you look. But what it sounds like to me is that all of the cast and crew didn't have the heart to tell her that her weight was an issue, because you're not supposed to mention women's weight these days, even if they're in a visual medium for their job. So they weren't sure what to do or say, and they just started stuffing her into corsets, and they put her clothes over them, and they try to tell her that it's actually a good thing that she's plus size and playing Regina George.
It's also funny because I think
she's not plus size.
She is.
Well.
When I think back to like all of the examples of television shows that have gone out of their way to like help women, because like for as much as Hollywood complains about, you know, pregnancy and stuff like that, plenty of shows will write a show around a woman getting pregnant, meaning you get the stack of books, you get the computer, a bunch of stuff blocking her so they don't have to show it, right? You have, like Hollywood has had for a long time to at least most of the time, or when they can, be accommodating to the fact that women's bodies change. I think back to the fact that the frumpy coats that they used to put Scully in the X-Files to hide the fact that she was pregnant multiple times on the show. You know, the idea that this, and those are characters that don't necessarily require you to look a certain way, but Regina George requires you to look a certain way. Don't want that being a different movie television show.
We've got another $20 from Disco Jensen saying these actresses wouldn't last a day in SEER school, 7 days in the field trying to avoid detection with only one live rabbit for sustenance.
Yep.
Wait, what is that?
What's SEER school?
Survival, evade, resist, and then an escape. Survival, evade, resistance, and escape. It's military training for people who've been captured.
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
I love the idea that there's some type of SEER school for fat people.
I think that this is something we'll continue encountering with Gen Z actors and actresses, because, you know, it's said so often that they're this entitled generation because they are. They kind of are. They think they're deserving of certain opportunities without putting in the work for them.
And they think that the expectation should bend to their will, not them bending to the will of the expectations.
You know, that's what I found so interesting about the Snow White girl. Because when
let's talk about her.
When she complained, she was pretty on the same level of insufferable that pretty much any Hollywood celebrity has been. But for some reason, like, she struck a chord with people.
Her delivery, it was the way she looked.
I feel.
Thank you.
Hey Dane, I know how much you love that.
I swear it's getting louder. I feel it was the same, like, nonchalant, I'm better than you, holier than thou delivery that everyone has.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like even she has the like I don't know.
They have the same vocal fry, same like accent that the Valley Girl accent that
it's
they
a performance.
There's a $20 one here from the Manic Mustache. It says, as one of the few males, but one of many amateur wrestlers that dealt with an eating disorder, let me say, put down the cheeseburger and pick up a pot chubby. Hashtag help women find the kitchen again.
I don't think Renee Rapp needs any help finding the kitchen.
I wonder if this is the clip that's going to get us on some bullshit self-serving California podcast where the chairs...
That would be great for the show.
Where the chairs face forward.
That would be great. No, yeah, you're right. It's with these musical theater types. Because every time Rachel Zegler speaks in a public interview, she is speaking like she rehearsed it in the mirror 5 hours prior. Like, you can tell that she's putting on a performance because of this musical theater background she has. And I'm sure that Renee Rapp, having a similar background, comes off exactly the same way. Mm-hmm. I've noticed that. I think that's why, even though Rachel Zegler is saying a lot of the same annoying woke shit that other actresses do, she's getting more backlash for it because of her delivery.
Her mannerisms?
Yeah, and her mannerisms.
It really was the one about the prince to me. It was the
weird.
Yeah, it's that. There's a condescension and a narcissism that shows in the face when you watch those clips, where that makes it impossible. Even when she tries to go the other direction and convince you that that's not how she thinks, you don't buy it, because I buy that what she said the first time she actually means. When she apologizes, I don't buy it.
But I feel like this is even a fraction of insufferable that, I don't know, the stupid bitches at The View are. You know what I mean?
But you were right when you said that, like, Rachel Zegler, seeing all of the hate she got, probably reacted by saying, like, what? I'm just saying the same thing everybody else is saying. Like, why am I the one getting flack?
It's not what you say, it's how you say it.
It's not what you say, it's how you say it. But it's also what you say.
But they all say it that way. I don't know. I'm infinitely perplexed by it.
All right, let's go to Super Chats. We're almost at 10 crisis parties here today, ladies and gentlemen. That's crazy.
Mikey said natural women are beautiful women. Not always. Let's just be honest about that. Not
I
always.
love the idea.
There'll be some ugly ones.
I love the idea.
Maybe some troll-made ones.
Like, somebody's like, look, I'm not a huge fan of plastic surgery, but in your case...
Jetstorm39 said...
Where's that from?
I'm just saying, I want to see somebody actually say that to another person. Be like, look,
you should say
I'm not an advocate for plastic surgery, but, you know...
Jetstorm39 said Don Lemon is one of the main reasons we had the 2020 riots. The gay black man who married a white man gaslighting the whole world. Hope he fails.
Yeah, well, now he's going to be on X, and he's going to be all about free speech.
Alt media, bro.
I'm like so against the establishment.
I'm buddies with Tucker Carlson now. Look at me now, CNN.
Take that, losers.
Did you guys talk about that weird Kevin Spacey in character? Okay, never mind then. Like, what was going on there?
We still don't know.
I have no idea.
It wasn't real.
Patrick H.E., I guess, said, I prefer neither. I'm 33, below average height, successful, and can honestly tell you, none of it matters to these women these days. As men, we accept, adapt, and move forward.
Yep.
Amen, my friend. I'm all of those things except the successful part.
Hey, you're a successful podcaster.
Yes!
Look at you.
Look at me over here. I got money. I'm literally holding money right now. Are you kidding me?
Bookstore Thor said, remember on Burn Notice when Fiona got a new face?
Yes. Okay, so like in the later seasons,
oh my God.
USA Network, and you're like, oh God,
dude,
yeah.
Her tummy tuck was disturbing. She didn't have a belly button anymore.
No, she didn't. She was already skinny.
I know.
She was already skinny.
But she literally like got so many tummy tucks, I guess, that she just didn't have a belly button.
Tummy tuck sounds so silly. Tummy tuck.
She looked like an alien.
Yeah. She's the actress, and the actress already had kind of like, and it was in the character that she's kind of a bit cold, but it perfectly fit the like newly stretched face, and I love that performance.
Do you think she kind of looks like Emrata?
No.
I guess I haven't looked at her in a while.
She's way tanner than Emrata is. That's Gabrielle Anwar, if you were wondering who that is.
Corey Anderson said the halitosis hamster spends more time taking a grumpy in the morning than she does with her kids all day.
Not something I ever thought I would read.
I don't know why that was such a great super chat.
JWT6577 said, you should call this character neglectful Euroboo mom. Are there such a thing as Euroboos?
There is now.
I guess they really like German chocolate. Shane H. Wilder said, damn, Dane, spitting facts. All of this woman's money will never buy her children's love. I'd rather have the riches of love than monetary riches.
There you go.
Okay, Hallmark.
Shane's very wholesome. Patrick H.E. said, Ariana Grande has always been a shit person. Nothing new here. Homewrecker stories by Ariana Grande coming soon.
There you go.
Yeah, we need the Homewrecker diaries.
There you go.
Pat the Plumber said, or tell the 304s all Marys, LOL.
What?
Yeah, I don't know what that means. Disco Jensen said, streaming the cube, the truth behind Timcast.
Instead of gleaming the cube, it's streaming the cube.
What cube?
Yep. Or we could, I really do think that there will eventually be a Timcast doc.
Should be behind the beanie.
Behind the beanie. Or would it be inside the beanie?
It's well.
I don't know if I want to be inside the beanie. Corey Anderson said, Hail Mary or Heil Mary, I'll see myself out. Brett, never play that Madonna video again, ever.
Maybe, yes. Well,
maybe you should play it.
Make it stop!
Michael Aleo said, way to reverse the hostage party back onto the audience.
I never thought of it that way, but yes.
Actually, so true. How the turntables. Ben Tomsky said, have you considered that you give this Joker abomination more views than it ever deserved?
I mean, one
Probably.
view every so often, yeah, I suppose.
One view is more than it deserved. The Sundowners Club
It was pretty quippy, though.
Yeah. It's good editing.
No, the person who does it is actually a fairly good presenter and not at all bad at their job. It's just really, really cringy in execution.
Yeah. The Sundowners Club said Lena Dunham isn't getting work the last several years because she's so focused on identity politics and not an actual storytelling.
Since when has that been a problem for Hollywood? I don't buy that excuse at all.
Yeah, maybe it's just because Lena Dunham's white.
Could be.
Shane H. Wilder said, no, Mary, I remember making the mailboxes. See? I'm not crazy. This isn't a Mandela effect.
All right.
We did this.
Okay.
Hiroshima Otaru said Renee Rapp sounds drunk in that interview.
It's like how I sound when my blood sugar crashes towards the end of this episode.
I think that's just how Zoomers talk.
Yeah.
That's just Zoomer speak.
You know what it's from? It's from watching all of those TikTok videos that slow down the songs.
It makes you start thinking slower.
I literally don't know who is Patient Zero, but they should be lying against the wall. Like, I hate
Maybe it was Lil Xan. Remember?
I hate the vocal fry.
Lil Xan. It was that guy. It was all the mumble rappers.
It's a guy? A guy started that?
Or do you remember him?
I do.
Yeah.
No.
Corey Anderson.
Corey Anderson said Renee Rapp is the reason people prefer dogs over people. So true. High Voltage 75 said Brett, Mary, and Mr. Dane Font back on a Monday. Feels like old times. By the way, French toast over waffles over pancakes. This is the correct order.
No.
That's almost.
No.
This is
Pancakes,
the correct order.
Waffles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got it right, High Voltage. This is the correct order. I mean, everyone agrees that French toast is at the top, right?
Yeah.
We're all on the same page on
I know
that.
a couple of very, very misled people that do not. That actually put it at the bottom. To which
Waffles
I say-
first is like the terrible,
go,
the chaos tier list.
But like, it depends if we're talking about a toaster waffle or like a really well done waffle.
We got a couple more. You got a $20 one.
I'm a
here
Euroboo
from
now. I'm like, what if it's a Belgian waffle?
And I'll give you 20 minutes of it.
Dreamcast Night says Ariana Grande sounds like Jillian from Family Guy with upwards vocal inflections. Also, when the year she released Side to Side, she was complaining about being objectified because it was current year and it was the time.
LOL. I'm so sick of being objectified. Here's my song about getting railed so hard that I can't walk the next day.
Does she really have a song about that?
Yes, it's literally called Side to Side because she's walking side to side.
What a stupid
In the
bitch.
music video, they're all on exercise bikes.
What a stupid bitch.
Yeah.
God.
Here, let's get that 10th crisis party, ladies and gentlemen, if for no other reason than to make Dane just a little bit more miserable.
I will be
Yeah.
miserable because I fucking hate it.
Pat the Plumber said 10 crisis parties on a Monday. Come on, Brett, you're successful AF.
Whoa, look at you.
Thank you.
The look on your face is priceless. I wish that you had seen it, Dane.
What? No.
Okay, someone clip that and send it to me, please.
Feel the pain, Brett.
The existential dread that you just expressed was top notch.
I'm trying to think of how I can be contrarian here, but I don't know how to do it right now. We'll come back to it.
You'll figure it out. Trust me. If anyone can figure that out.
I refuse. Look, it's Mary quite contrary, not Brett quite contrary.
How am I a contrarian?
I'm not saying that.
I mean, it does
People
rhyme.
in the chat
It
say
rhymes.
that. It's not me. It's the audience.
The audience.
The audience. I'm not.
Forget about it.
Forget about it. I'm not the one saying it.
Shane H. Wilder said, Hallmark, I'm not gay. Screw you, Dane.
Dude,
LOL,
Hallmark
JK.
is so straight. Hallmark is about chicks that move out of New York and get like bent over by some guy in the country. Like consistently.
I don't know about that.
Dude, every Hallmark.
I mean, he's a widower and he's a single dad.
Every Hallmark
Okay.
movie is like, okay, well.
But that's not shown in the movie, Dane.
I mean, it's implied.
It's implied. That's an important difference.
It's like, wow, gee, lady, tell me more about this marketing that we could use to improve my local business.
I have ended the poll, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't forget today. 71% of you say that you have never been in a situationship.
Well, you've never lived.
Or are they lying to themselves?
Yeah. Oh, denial is popular.
Maybe it's more of a question for women.
Could be.
Like us.
for Dane and I. High Vulture 75 said new PCC wagers. How many parties for Dane to eat a pineapple pizza live on PCC?
Dude, by the way, I feel like some of you think this is a character I play on the show.
Let's dispel that.
I have fights with my wife about this because that's her favorite pizza. And the last time she ordered it, I was like, you only get things that I don't like. And I hate that shit. It's disgusting. You never eat it. Like, I was just losing it.
Do you hate it so much that
I
you
hate
won't
it.
even take the pineapple and ham off of it?
I've tried. It seeps in. It's always like between the cheese. It ruins it.
But what if you get half and half? Do you like refuse to eat defiled pizza that's on the other half of the pizza?
No, I'll eat the untainted
It's like
half.
contaminated.
I've actually backtracked. Like, I'm actually eating less flavor on pizza. I've been getting cheese pizza lately, despite the fact that I never got cheese pizza ever in my life.
There you go. There's the contrarian.
Yeah.
Love that for you.
It came here.
Like, I always get pepperoni and green olive if available. Or
Brett,
just pepperoni.
that's iconic.
Thank you.
Pepperoni green olive is a good.
But normally just
If you're
Well, wait,
lame.
no, we didn't answer the question. How many parties?
for you to eat a
20.
pineapple pizza. How many?
20.
20.
20?
20.
Okay.
All right.
And I have to finish it all?
No. You just have to eat a healthy amount.
What's a healthy amount?
At least 2 pieces.
2 whole pieces?
Doesn't that mean we have to make it to 20 in this episode?
I will lose my mind.
Wouldn't happen to
I am not
unless
emotionally
somebody
ready.
really hates Dane and wants to.
Yeah.
We got two $20 ones here. One from Disco Jensen says, "Can we all agree degeneracy is ruining pop culture and we need more family pushing media?" I don't accept that premise.
Yeah, me neither. It has to be tasteful. And it has to be tasteful and within context.
I don't want
Yeah.
family-friendly entertainment necessarily all the time. I don't think that that's necessarily what it needs. There's plenty of
Well done.
I've been rewatching True Detective. I would hardly call True Detective
Look,
season 1
Yeah.
family.
You can tell.
It was so fucking good, though.
You can tell a
Season
story
1?
that isn't family friendly without making me watch porn, though.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
that's a possibility.
There's no specifics here. Like, yes, would I prefer that there's no sex scenes? Yes. Do I really care that Alexandra Daddario's titties are out in True Detective season 1? I mean, I'm not going to say no.
Not even
to it,
remotely.
But I'm not
Oh
going
my
to go
God.
seek it out.
You're like, my eyes!
My
eyes!
they burn! Or I guess, like, the idea is, like, if you're, like, watching it with a girl, you're like, oh my God! And then you kind of just go like this.
She looks disgusting.
She looks disgusting. I can't believe they would put that on camera.
Except when you're watching Oppenheimer, it's actually true.
Then it actually, yes. Well, that's the weird titties. All right, $20
Okay.
one from Baron Gray Matter
Sorry.
says, "Boomer men don't share their women. No situationships." Okay.
Good to know.
Now we're halfway to an
They
11.
only get cheated on behind their backs because
Exactly.
they're terrible people and have ruined generations.
Now we're halfway to an
Whoa.
11th crisis party.
I mean,
DCNC said, hope this one triggers the noise. Suck it, Dane.
I think his did actually put it through.
Nice.
So when it comes through.
Good job.
And then one more here from Shane H. Wilder.
Also, Dane, I have commemorated your return on Twix or Instagram. I will clip Brett for you, Mary. Thank you. And there it goes.
Thank you guys so much. And we got one more here from Ninja from Pop Culture Planet, who says, so you're telling us there's a number.
Yeah, it's 20.
20. All right.
Damn, 2 whole ones? 2 whole pieces?
2 whole pieces.
I highly doubt we're gonna make
That's
it there in
so
this
gross.
episode.
It would be cool
unless
to get to
there's
11,
a
though.
generous donor.
Yeah, somebody who really hates Dane and has disposable income.
They're the anti-Dane.
Shut it down.
All right, guys, before we go, would you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed here yet already? Thank you so much for that. Help us get to 100,000. We are getting there, closer every single day.
Are you gonna do anything for that?
Well, we're trying to figure that out, which I forgot to ask you guys for suggestions of what you guys think we should do for a 100K subscriber special episode, which we are obviously going to do, but we're completely clueless as to what it will be or what it will look like.
Make Mary watch World's Best Sex Scene Compilation. World's Best Hollywood Sex Scene Compilation.
Not an option.
Let's see.
Not an option.
Let's see a wide array of fast foods and rate them.
I mean, I did suggest
Yep.
like an eating show.
We could do
but-
that. I mean, I'm like categorically opposed to eating on stream, but I guess if it's the purpose of it.
If you put the microphone away from
Yes.
your mouth.
I just want to be paid for eating Taco Bell.
Yeah.
That's the
That would be
dream.
nice.
Huh?
I'll get a bunch of balloons, but I mean, yeah, tell us your ideas. I'm fresh out of them.
Yep. And then maybe like leave comments on the PCC Twitter, perhaps, and give us your suggestions.
Sure.
There
Yeah.
you go. All right, Dane, my friend, let everyone know where they can find you if you can still hear from all the
Barely.
crisis
Yeah,
parties.
thanks
Yeah.
for 10 explosions in my ear. You can follow me on Twitter at Dane Font, and now I shall spell that out for you. DANEFONT.
Perfect. Somebody says Brett should strip. Sorry, that's 200,000. I bet.
Oh.
Psych. All right, Mary, where can they find you?
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived.
Perfect. Guys, if you'd like to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and on Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. PCC is here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, noon Pacific, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you would prefer to listen rather than watch, we got one more super chat here from Pat the Plumber. He says, Live Moss. Amen. And if you want to follow the show on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Guys, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye.